This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network. Welcome to the latest episode of Who's Next. I am Andy Atherton, one of your co-hosts here. It is our lucky 13th episode. Can't believe we've been doing it this long, for a little over a year now. Probably longer since we have not stuck to our monthly schedule, but we're trying, folks. We're trying. And we have a good time, though, no matter what we do here on this show, because we talk about NXT, a brand that we love. Who is we? As I always say, there is no I on this show. It is a we, and this show would not be possible without my co-host, Logan Crosland. Logan, our first show of 2024. So happy to be back with you, continuing on our journey through current day, modern day, now happening NXT.
Yes, it is. You could say we are NXT. So,
we are.
Yeah, we do love it. We do have to dive back into the last year just a little bit, but we will get you introduced to the new year and what's been happening since we last left you.
Yeah, a lot's been happening. So, a little program note: this is dropping after the latest episode of NXT, which is airing on January 30th. We are recording on January 29th, so the January 30th show will be in our next episode. That will also include our look back at Vengeance Day, the next PLE, which we will preview at the end of this episode. So, Logan, we are going back not that far, only about a month or so. We were good this time, I swear. This is good for us. We're going back to right after Christmas, on December 26th of 2023, that episode that aired. And we open up with a tag match. We have Chase U, Andre Chase, and Duke Hudson versus OTM Out of the Mud, Bronco Nima, Luchin Price, in an all or nothing match. Basically, we got Tony D and Channing watching from the crowd. It's all about, Chase U's debt or money issues are on the line here. And that if Chase U wins, they get, they're out of trouble. If not, sorry guys, you're in deep shit. So we get a quick little match here. OTM has really been improving as we go along. We get Andre Chase and Luchin Price to start. We get Price showing his power. Then we get a tag in to Duke, trying to cut the ring in half, but they fail. And Andre finds himself on the wrong side of town as Nima goes to work on him. Duke with a hot tag, flip, flop, and fly on Bronco. He Death Valley drivers Luchin onto his own partner before taking a moment to counter Scripps' interference. Then we get Andre Chase tagging in, perching up. Nobody home. Price blasts him with a super kick, tag made, and OTM wins by pinfall with a spine buster on Andre Chase. It has been nothing but bad times for Chase U. And OTM gets a big win, I would think, because former tag team champions here. So, Logan, what do you think of the tag match that started off this episode?
Yeah, this is a big win for OTM. I believe Mr. Chase had won some money in a dice game the previous week. So this was like Reggie put up that money and doubled it or something like that for this match. So if they had won, they probably would have had enough to pay off their debt. So
feeding into Mr. Chase's gambling addiction, I guess.
Yeah. Diving more into his madness of his gambling addiction that he apparently has obtained over the last 5 to 6 months. But yeah, not a bad little match. Not your usual kind of hot opener for NXT. You usually get some of the smaller guys kind of a little bit high flying or a little more hard hitting. But it was a perfectly fine match, and like you said, a big win for OTM to get them kind of restarted after a couple of setbacks.
All right. Then we get some NXT year-end awards. We get the Creed brothers winning the Tag Team of the Year. Tiffany Stratton wins Female Superstar of the Year. And Ilya Dragunov wins Male Superstar of the Year. Pretty no-brainers there, I would say, right, Logan? You have no issues with any of those awards?
Yeah, I mean, male and female superstar, absolutely. Tag team probably could have gone to Stax and Tony because they've been tag champs for most of the year. But, yeah, I'm never going to vote against the Creeds for sure.
Don't. All right, so then we come back. We have Trick and Mello getting a chat. Trick says he might have to push his match against Dragunov back since he wants to face him at 100% after he got injured. And then Carmelo tells him he has to take a shot because he's on fire. And 5 years from now, the only thing people will be talking about is that he won the title. We move on to our next match, which is Josh Briggs, newly single competitor Josh Briggs versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. So we go with the usual Heritage Cup format here, and nothing happens really in round one. Round two, we get Josh Briggs winning a pinfall with a powerbomb. Then we get to round three. We get a lot of back and forth here. Round four, we get a partial. We get a decision here. We don't get a pin or a submission. Actually, we get Josh Briggs getting disqualified by hitting Noam Dar with the bucket, and then so your winner and still champion because of they split right 1 point each. Tie goes to the runner, and Noam Dar retains. What do you think of Briggs here? Kind of also, not only is he single, kind of getting a little heelish, I think, as we'll explore more as we go through the next few episodes. What are your thoughts here? And how is the Heritage Cup? Do you think it's starting to gain some momentum, gain some favor here in the NXT arena?
Yeah, like I've always said, I think it works a little better in the smaller setting just because I don't know what it is about it, but it seems like the crowd can get a little bit more into it when it's a little bit more compact and it's not like big arena, and you can kind of hear the sounds and all that kind of stuff, I guess. But Briggs looked good here. I don't know if this is really his kind of match. He really needs to kind of go all out, and really do some hard hitting, and he really needs some time to kind of wear down his opponent and stuff like that. So, but Noam showed, like he always does, he's really good at these style matches. Can kind of play the endurance factor and really show how well I can't think of the word. His cardio is just really good.
Yeah. So
he can show off that part of his game.
Stamina.
Stamina. That's the word I was looking for. But yeah, he's. I thought this match was all right. The DQ ending was kind of goofy, but I think it kind of played into that. Briggs is kind of a hothead, so I did think it was all right, but probably could run it back and have a little bit better of a match, I think.
Yeah, not everybody is good with the 4 stops basically of the rounds. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something, Dar's been doing it so long, he's used to it. Some of the smaller guys have done it over in NXT UK. So yeah, I think you're absolutely correct that it's not everybody's cup of tea in terms of format what that they can perform in.
Yeah, exactly.
So we get this we go backstage and we have this kind of ongoing thing now with Nathan Frazer, which I think is kind of funny. He's back there chatting with Axiom. He starts talking trash about Braun Breaker, then realizes he's standing behind him, which is going to become a running gag. Braun says speed and high flying have no effect on him. Nathan challenges him to a match. Then we get Cora Jade making her entrance as we go to break into our next match, which is Cora Jade versus Carmen Petrovic. Feeling out, Jade shoving her, Petrovic going to work, wrist lock step over into a kick. Cora then turns her around, shoulder thrust in the corner, sunset flip from Carmen, gets 2. Rising knee from Jade, slingshot stomp, but she comes up lame. Petrovic kicks her leg out from under her. Then we get a flying forearms, corner kick, 540 falling roundhouse kick. Almost gets the pin, and then Jade recovers. And then she gets the pinfall with a snap underhook DDT. Post-match, she then toys with Petrovic some more until Gigi Dolan makes the save, your beloved Gigi. So, like I said about Nathan Frazer, I'm kind of digging, giving him a personality. He's one of those guys that kind of needed that aspect to his character. Like, he's great in the ring. The guy is probably the fastest guy I've ever seen in the ring. Mm-hmm. But he needed something else to add to it. Cora Jade versus Carmen. Well, we have more to talk about Cora later. Carmen Petrovic, I like this girl. I think she's got a huge upside. I think Lyra Valkyria should be hanging out with her to learn how to do kicks, or hang out with Ivar, because you saw he hits that kick actually really good. But no, I thought this was fine. I think Petrovic is going through growing pains. Like, she's gonna lose more than she's gonna win at this point. But I can see her kind of moving up the ranks kind of quickly out of the kind of the current crop of the new girls. Like there's about 5 or 6 new girls I think that are being kind of moved up a little bit right now, and I think she might be the best one out of the bunch. That includes like Izzy Dame. We have Ren in there. Although what's her face? We're going to talk about her more. She was in the finals of the. She was with Kalani. Kalani she is really improved a lot in a short span of time. But I do think there's an upside for Karen Petrovic. And then, of course, your beloved Gigi makes an appearance towards the end. So what are your thoughts on Nathan Frazier's kind of new thing backstage, and where he kind of like, talks himself into trouble without realizing it, and then this Cora Carmen match?
Yeah, I do like the new character for Nathan with the, talking himself into trouble. He always seems to say it right as soon as whoever it is he's talking about walks in the room. So I guess he needs to learn to keep it to himself. But yeah, it's a pretty funny character, and it gets funnier throughout the weeks as it goes. But yeah, I agree with you on Carmen. I think she's got a lot of upside. Or some of the most upside of these newer girls, like you said. I think Kalani's kind of the head of that class, just because, and obviously they've been pushing her a lot lately. And Lola's high up there as well, but I think Carmen's right in there with him. She's a lot more strike based, and she really lays them in too. And like you said, I think Lyra could probably take a few lessons from her. But yeah, this was just to put Cora over, kind of let her have a little bit of a competitive match, but definitely just a spot to get her a win and kind of build her in a more upward direction.
I hate to say it, I think we crap on Lyra's roundhouse kick about as much as we crap on Big Body Javi. Or I crap on Big Body Javi, at least.
Yeah, it's just not good. So it needs to be crapped on.
yeah. No. Good crap goes where crap deserves, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are still in the men's breakout tournament at this point. We got Lexis King versus Riley Osborne. Riley Osborne hits a wrist lock, working him through arm drags. King forces him into the ropes, breaks it dirty with a shove. Lexis then hits a high angle half crab. Riley's struggling, but he won't break. Rolling through a ducks a lariat. A leg lariat connects, and a corkscrew moonsault. Doesn't get the victory. Then trading vicious overhand chops. Lexis King hits a backbreaker, straightjacket, lung blower. Then we got Trey Bearhill appearing to threaten Lexis King with a chair. Riley Osborne off the top, and we get a pinfall win by Riley Osborne with a shooting star press. Back post-match, we got Bearhill attacking King, raking his back, but Lexis makes his retreat, and then they go to break. So I was a little surprised at this because they kind of got Lexis King into this tournament. I could have sworn he was going to go all the way. Riley Osborne, he's kind of like Matt Bourne, I guess, 2.0 in my opinion. He's got, good in the ring. We'll see what his personality is, what his character's like. But, I thought it was good. I was a little perplexed, though, about the Lexis King going out, at least not making it to the finals. What do you think here?
Yeah, I definitely thought he would make the finals, if not win the whole thing. But yeah, it was definitely surprising, but it makes sense with he took out Trey Bearhill from the tournament, so it made sense that he kind of got his revenge and got him taken out as well. So I definitely think it made sense. Not a bad match, like we've kind of said before. Pillman's not going to just blow you away with much of what he does, but he's a pretty good character at this point, and he'll get it in the ring eventually. But yeah, that shooting star press that Osborne hits is a thing of beauty. So always fun to see that.
All right, so we get Ava Raine continuing her backstage role. She's telling the crowd that the camera that they don't have a definitive status for Dragunov, but Docs will let him decide. And then we get Braun Breaker versus Nathan Frazer. We get basically your base power versus speed match. We go towards the end of the match. We get Braun going to the floor. Then we got Breaker goes into the steel steps, back inside, off the top rope. Crossbody counted into the world's strongest slam. And we get a super kick from Frazer for a near fall. Goes up top, goes for a Phoenix Splash, nobody home. And then we get Braun Breaker hitting the spear and wins by pinfall. And then we move on to we also get some more NXT year-end awards. We get Carmelo Hayes versus Dragunov and No Mercy wins match of the year. And we get The Undertaker's guest appearance for a moment of the year. So any thoughts on those awards and the Braun Breaker Nathan Frazer match?
Yeah, when I saw the candidates for Moment of the Year, and I saw that one, I was like, I was thinking that would win. I think Lash Legend body slamming Otis probably should have won just because it was more memorable and a lot of people talked about it. But Undertaker being there is definitely probably the moment of the year just based on it got a lot of eyes. But yeah, the match was really good. Like you said, it's kind of speed power matchup. I'm pretty sure at one point they ran off the ropes and they were both going 1,000,000 miles an hour. So that was a ton of fun to watch. I think they talk about how, and you mentioned it earlier, Nathan's like one of the fastest people in WWE. And I think even at the Rumble this past weekend, they talked about that like Breaker got clocked in at some ridiculous miles per hour going off the ropes. So two just incredibly athletic and really fast guys, but that spear he nailed just absolutely destroyed Frazer. So
yeah, he sells it so good too.
Yeah, really good stuff.
All right. So we get Drew Gulak talking about Dragon Lee and the LWO once stepping to the world. They can. And the entire no quarter catch crew, say that 10 times fast, gets promo time to trash talk them and challenge them to a trios match at New Year's Evil. Then we get Brooks Jensen, Fallon Henley rolling up to console Josh Briggs over his loss. And we get, say that it's over. Brooks says one last time. They got to go their own way. And, they do hands in. Their family forever. He loves them. And they go to break with Brooks holding his hands up by himself. Back from commercial, we get Ariana Grace chatting with Ava Raine to complain about the vicious attack and bruising she suffered last week at the hands of Roxanne Perez. And for the betterment of the women's locker room, that Perez do anger management classes. It ends up with Raine making a match between the two. And we get Blair Davenport and Lyra Valkyria having a sit-down interview, accusing each other of avoiding each other. And Lyra says she clawed her way to the title the right way while Blair attacked people in parking lots, and they trade a few more barbs before squaring up. Then we move on to our other NXT Men's Breakout Tournament semifinals match of the night, Oba Femi versus Tavion Hypes. This is a pretty quick match, which has been kind of a mark of Oba Femi's matches because he's a big guy. I don't know how much his stamina hasn't been tested yet, but it basically ends with Oba Femi winning with a power bomb. And then we'll stop there. So Logan, we get the no quarter catch crew getting some more time here. We get the official breakup of Brooks, Briggs, and Fallon. Ariana Grace continuing her great character work here. And we get the sit-down interview. And then pretty much a quick match. I think going in, nobody did not think Oba Femi was going to win this and move on to the finals. So what are your thoughts on this next set of TV?
Yeah, the no quarter catch crew challenging the LWO with Dragon Lee. I definitely think that match has some potential. We'll talk about it as we get to it. But yeah, definitely a match I was excited for going into New Year's Evil. But the breakup of Briggs and Jensen, you saw it coming from a mile away. Obviously, Briggs has had a few title opportunities lately and a lot of singles opportunities, and you could tell that that's kind of the way he wants to go. And Fallon's been doing her thing, so it really leaves Brooks out in the wind to kind of see where he may end up, because it seems like the other two kind of have a somewhat of a path at least, but we'll see where they go going forward. Yeah, like you said, Ariana doing some more really good character stuff with Ava, and then the face-to-face with Lyra and Blair. They kind of talked about how they were both in NXT UK and they never really faced off because Blair said she avoided her, and Lyra obviously blamed injuries because she did have an injury when they were both in NXT UK for a while. And then, yeah, Oba Femi continues to be impressive. Kind of faced somebody that's kind of closer to his size, but he still was pretty dominant in the win. So obviously definitely seems like they're pushing him as hard as they possibly can in this tournament. So, but yeah, another impressive performance by him.
Yeah, the thing with the Briggs Jensen Fallon, like Briggs is up there. I mean, you know, he gets a singles run, and I think he'll be ready for a call up. I think he's there. I think Fallon is in the next group. I mean, she's going to be probably, once a couple others go up, I think she'll be next in line. Yeah, that leaves Brooks. Brooks needs work. He does. He's basically not ready for prime time, so to speak. What they do with him, maybe they put him in their tag team, maybe they repack him. I don't know, but yeah, he definitely needs some time, and you can definitely tell the other two are going to be going in a different direction, at least for now. And then Oba Femi, yeah, he's just a beast, that guy. And we get move on to Dragunov getting interviewed while wearing a neck brace. He waves the interview off, saying he's looking for Trick Williams. We get Joe Coffey versus Joe Gacy. We get circling collared elbow. Neither man able to gain advantage, so they slug it out with forearms. Side headlock from Gacy. Shot off, drop kick, senton connects, and Chainsaw Joe is fired up. The Iron Man sends him to the floor. Gallus with the distraction, and Coffey dives on him. Splash from Coffey gets two. We get a rock bottom from Gacy. Then we get Hank and Tank coming out to equalize the Gallus boys. We get a cross chop with a shoulder block from Coffey. Off the ropes, duck all the best for the bells. And then Joe Gacy wins by pinfall with the upside down. We get Dragon Lee and Latino World Order interviewed backstage. They accept the no quarter catch crew's challenge before reuniting with Elektra Lopez. And then we get, she introduces a disinterested Lola Vice to them. And then we will pause there because next was the main event of the show. So Joe Gacy versus Joe Coffey. What are we doing here? I mean, Joe Coffey's one of those guys, like, he's kind of like just there to me. Mm-hmm. He's part of Gallus. I think Gallus will be a fine crew coming up. I think if they come up, I think they have to come up and kind of be in a faction. I'm thinking they could be, with Drew. I think Drew could really, maybe use them as a dominant Scottish heel faction. Mm-hmm. I think would be fun. Gacy, it's anybody's guess where they're going with him, really. I mean, because the guys, he does have talent. I don't hate him in the ring. I think he can do the character stuff. So, it's just finding the right thing for him. I mean, Bray Wyatt wasn't born today. I know I compare him to Bray a lot because they're very similar, but there's never going to be another Bray. But, Gacy can be in that kind of that similar vein. And then, I like the, Dragon Lee and Latino World Order here. We're getting some dissension here with Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice. And, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Joe Coffey versus Joe Gacy could be described as my own personal hell because I am not a particular fan of either guy. I did think Gacy needed the win. To kind of establish where he's going forward. He's kind of just playing this like whacked out Looney Tune kind of character that just pops up and yells things and just kind of messes with people. He's popped on commentary a couple of times and just messed with Vic and Booker, and he's obviously messed with Gallus a lot lately. So it's definitely he definitely needed to get the win here. I think it was an okay match. Like I said, I'm not particularly a huge fan of either guy in ring. That they do what they do well, but it's just not the most exciting things in the world, I guess. And then Dragon Lee and the LWO accepting the challenge was definitely something I thought would happen. You kind of start to see a little bit of dissension between Elektra and Lola, if not for just the fact that she seems kind of uninterested, like you said.
Yes. So we move on to our main event of the night. We get an NXT Underground match. We got Dijak versus Eddie Thorpe. So we get Eddie Thorpe with a German suplex, looking for a cross armbar. Dijak overwhelms him and throws him to the post, and we go to break. Then we get back from commercial. Donovan with a vicious tope Carnero that wipes Eddie out. We get a German suplex, leg kicks, another German waistlock, ducks and elbow. Thorpe with a sheer drop brainbuster. Back and forth. We got Dijak trying to break a waistlock with punches. We got Eddie punching away, German suplex, but Dijak lands on his feet. We got a feast your eyes on the floor. Then we get Eddie with a sleeper, but Dijak shrugs him off by putting him into the ring post. DDT's onto the floor. Dijak gets back up. Thorpe chokes him. Dijak to his feet, fading. Eddie switches his grip. DDT off the apron and through the announce desk, and it's over. Eddie Thorpe wins by knockout. Then we get backstage, Trick Williams chatting with Ilya Dragunov, asking if he's going to be ready to fight at New Year's Evil before signing a contract and offering to push the match back. Dragunov says nothing, and no one can stop him before taking the brace off and signing a contract. They stand up, shake hands, and have a stare down. And that is the close of our episode. So, I mean, the Underground match, I thought it was good. I mean, it is what it is. This feud between Dijak and Thorpe has gone on for a bit. It's one of those feud enders, I guess. I guess is what they could use the Underground for. And I thought this was, a good match, and the right guy goes over. Although Dijak does need to start getting some wins under his belt. And then the close of the show, keep building up on the Trick Dragunov stuff. So I thought it was a good episode. What do you think of the main event?
Yeah, this seems to be Thorpe's kind of signature match. They had let him face Damon Kemp and won to kind of end their feud, and then obviously this is kind of the feud ender to this one. I'm glad he won. That Dijak got a lot of stuff over him throughout the whole rivalry, and Eddie got his wins here and there, but Dijak seemed to always end up on top, even if he lost. So just for Eddie to kind of finish him off here, put him through the table, and kind of win by knockout in this one, I definitely did a lot for him going forward. And then the face off at the end of the show was. Everything you'd expect. It's pretty basic. Contract signing. They're both faces, so they have the show of respect and shook hands. But definitely a match to look forward to. Obviously we'll talk about we don't quite get it yet, but we'll get it eventually. So, but yeah, definitely a match I'm definitely looking forward to.
All right, so we move on to our show on January 2nd. New Year's Evil opens up with our women's championship match. We got Blair Davenport versus Lyra Valkyria. We get a feeling out period, back and forth. Big hip toss from the champion, side headlock, shift to a cravat, hard whip across, up and over, sunset flip reverse. We get Davenport looking for a gory special, but Valkyria reverses into a snap mare. Back body drop to the apron. Blair then snaps her over the ropes and goes up top. We get a lateral press. Lyra kicks out, and Blair goes into a reverse chinlock to choke the life out of her. Strike roast from the champion. When she gets out, windmill punches into lariats, whip reverse, crossbody connects. Then we get a diving crossbody, sheer drop, brainbuster connects, but the champ is slow to capitalize. We get Davenport nailing her with an elbow. Valkyria fires back with a leg trap German suplex, up top jockeying for position. And we get a Blair Davenport avalanche Falcon Arrow, throwing Lyra into the barricade, looking for a hard knee against the announce desk, but Valkyria ducks and Blair jams her knee hard into the furniture. Then we get back inside. Blair beats the count, but her knee gives out. Lyra then goes looking for Chaos Theory. It's blocked. Davenport double jumps, double stomp, nobody home. Reverse roundhouse from Lyra, hossing her up. Then we get Lyra hitting a twisting Michinoku driver and gets the pinfall and retains her NXT Women's Championship match. We get Lola Vice coming to ringside with her contract, but Tam Paxley cuts her off before she can cash it in. Elektra Lopez joins her pal, and we get a brawl between all four women as referees try to pull them apart. All right, so big opener here. I thought both women looked well. Blair, I didn't think really had a shot going in. I thought she was going to put a good effort in, but Lyra, wasn't going to lose to Blair Davenport, at least just yet. And and then continuing with kind of the NXT version of Money in the Bank with Lola, teasing a cash-in, so to speak. They even called it a cash-in, I think. But no, I thought this was a good match. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a solid opener for sure. Again, not your kind of high-speed, high-flying kind of opener that we kind of come to expect. But this was a good little technical match. Some good submissions throughout, and hard hitting, like we said. But yeah, just a really good and decisive retention here for Lyra. She never seemed like she was in too much trouble. And she beat Blair pretty not handily, but it never seemed like it was in doubt. Like you said, I mean, she probably wasn't going to lose the belt here. It seems like she's kind of headed towards, she has the match at Vengeance Day that we'll talk about eventually, but I think she'll probably get through that one and probably have a big match at Stand and Deliver when we get to Mania time. But just a good decisive little win for her, and we'll see where she goes going forward.
All right, we go backstage. We have Kelly Kincaid with a medical update for us, telling us that the medical will not clear Ilya Dragunov to wrestle tonight, and that she's going to try to get a comment from Trick Williams. Then we move on to our 6-man tag match here. We get Carlito, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde representing the Latino World Order versus the No Quarter Catch crew, Damon Kemp, Drew Gulak, and Miles Bourne. We get Gulak and del Toro to start trading wrist locks while we get, we also mentioned Charlie Dempsey being off to wrestle for All Japan Pro Wrestling. Then we get a back body drop, sets Cruz up in the ropes. He springboards into a crossbody for 2. LWO double slingshots Wild into all 3 No Quarter Catch crew boys. That was insane how good this came off on TV. It was like I think I messaged you like, holy shit, like when we saw it, because it was a thing of beauty. Joaquin Wilde, man, they really hit. It was just perfect. I mean, the height, the length, how he positioned his body, and the fact that it was safe too. Nobody got hurt, which was great.
Yeah.
But then we get back inside. We get a missile drop kick. We get Gulak is taken off his feet. Carlito comes in running hot. The LWO is in control. We get Wild with a corkscrew moonsault. Kemp, the only man left on his team. Then we get Cruz is legal, and then we get the Latino World Order getting the win via pinfall with a Phoenix Splash from Cruz del Toro on Damon Kemp. Post match, we get Carlito spitting the apple in Drew Gulak's face. Then we get Trick Williams interview backstage, so he'll take his time and fight Ilya when he's ready. Carmelo Hayes tries to make the argument that he should just win the title by forfeit, but before Trick can weigh in, Grayson Waller rolls up to talk trash. They go back and forth. Hayes says Trick needs to fight somebody, and they go Grayson. He stands firm against the match until Mello offers up Trick's title match opportunity, and then Waller accepts while Trick scratches as we go to break. So yeah, this was a fun 6-man match here. I love seeing the LWO is such a fun act right now. Really enjoying them. I'm glad that they're getting some shine here, because they were kind of overshadowed, I guess, by the other members of the LWO. So getting to see really Cruz and Joaquin really show their stuff has been great, which they have been all along. Just I think people are starting to really notice them now. And then we get the continued story here with the Trick, Mello, and Grayson Waller making a return to NXT to stick his nose into things. So what are your thoughts on the match and the storyline stuff for going forward?
Yeah, the match will get remembered for the spot just because it was incredible, and that one was all over Twitter. Even people that don't watch week to week in our our chats that we have mentioned it and talked about how awesome it was. But the match itself was really, really good. I've sung the praises of Wilde and Del Toro for a long time. I thought they were a great team when they were down in NXT in the first place, and obviously in this return they show that they are still really, really good in the ring. They may not get to be able to showcase that on SmackDown as much as they probably should be, but anytime you put them in there, they'll have a good match with whoever they're in the ring with. But really good match. And the controversy with all of Dragunov being hurt, and obviously more dissension with Trick and Mello offering up his title match, kind of unwarranted, but it was good to see Waller back. Good to see them kind of plug in a main roster guy against obviously somebody they're pushing in the absence of the champion not being able to be there.
Yeah, all right. Move on to a couple of ladies matches here. We got Ariana Grace versus Roxanne Perez. Not a very long match. We get off the ropes. We get a big cross body from Roxy. Then we get La Casita shift onto an O'Connor roll, only a near fall. Back suplex, lifts. Roxanne then lands on her feet, ducks a lariat. Ariana blasts her with a boot. Grace cuts her off, kneeling rear chinlock. Perez on the comeback, corner striking, mounted punches. Ariana smashes her face into the turnbuckle and takes her down. But then we get Roxanne Perez getting the win via pinfall with the Pop Rocks. Post-match, Perez then hammers her with mounted punches, grabs, an arm trap crossface as well, cranking it back as referees try to break it. Eventually, the ring announcer informs us that the referee has reversed his decision due to Perez's continued assault. Then we get Ariana Grace actually having the win via DQ. Then we go backstage to Ava Raine, interviewed, and explains that she's stepping up to be the Heartbreak Man, Shawn Michaels' assistant, and informs everybody that the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the men's one, will start next week. We get back from commercial. Nikia Lyons confronting Blair Davenport. Nikia says Blair taking her out in the parking lot doesn't bring her any closer to the title, so she's going to do it right. They bicker. The crew arrives to separate them. And then we move on to Fallon Henley versus Tiffany Stratton. We get hard-hitting back and forth early. Stratton then slams Henley into the apron. We go with a break. Back from commercial. Henley hits a big crossbody and a crucifix driver. We get the prettiest moonsault ever, but nobody's home. Fallon up top by scissor sends Tiffany to the floor with her back inside. Henley then lines her up and wins by pinfall with a sliding knee, ensuring that Tiffany Stratton has to be her ranch hand for a day. So we get some, a good, movement forward of some of the ladies here. We got Ariana Grace continuing to kill it with her character stuff. She's basically the Chelsea of NXT, I would think, right now with the character work. Roxanne kind of showing a little darker side, a little meaner streak, maybe teasing a heel turn there. And then we get, Nikita coming back. Blair Davenport is going to be going through this for a bit once all the other ladies start coming back that she, quote-unquote, took out backstage. And then we get Fallon Henley getting a big win over Tiffany Stratton. I think Tiffany is doing the jobs on her way out, putting other people's over because she is got to be main roster bound. And we're going to get some fun vignettes from Tiffany Stratton being a ranch hand for a day. And plus the announcement of the Dusty Men's Tag Team Classic starting up the following week. All right, so what are your thoughts on what we had going on here, these last couple of matches and stuff?
Yeah, it's good to see kind of Roxanne show a little bit more of an aggressive side. She's kind of let people kind of walk all over up until this point. So she's really kind of tired of all that crap, and she's really going to take it out on whoever's in the ring with her. So, it could just be her being a bit more aggressive, but like you said, it could also be kind of maybe a tease or some sort of a heel turn, but we'll see where that kind of goes. But it is good to see her show a little bit more aggression. The announcement of the Tag Team Classic, always a fun little tournament that they have every year. So it's good to see that that's going to start up pretty soon. Nikita, obviously not forgetting what Blair did to her, and obviously wanting to get some measure of revenge at some point, but she said she's going to do it the right way. So obviously keeping her being a squeaky clean baby face. And then, the ranch hand servant match was definitely entertaining. Obviously, like you said, Fallon gets a big win, probably her biggest win to date. And, this can only lead to super hilarity when, Tiffany has to go work at the farm with Fallon. So definitely a solid match. Probably Fallon's best match to date. And like I said, one of her biggest wins for sure.
All right, there you go. We get Baron Corbin chatting up with Braun Breaker backstage. He wants Braun to drop the tough guy act for a minute, talk about the Dusty Classic, where he thinks they'd be a good team. Braun is skeptical, but Corbin then points out that they're both assholes and they can destroy everyone and then win the tag titles together. We go to Gigi Dolan holding court in the women's locker room, and Cora Jade rolls up to stick her nose in the business. She tells Gigi off for being in her locker, and Gigi then mocks and mockingly apologizes, saying you can't expect people to respect your locker if you don't respect theirs. Confrontation boils over. Then we get Ridge Holland with a sit-down interview. Talks about his history of injuries, first blowing out his legs before War Games 2020, how much he respects Dragunov, and how he doesn't want to be seen as a monster when he's just a man. We get Thea Hale rolling up on Riley Osborne, saying that she'll be out there cheering for him. High fives her, and she predictably loses her mind about touching the boy she likes. Okay. Then we get the finals of the NXT Men's Breakout Tournament. Oba Femi versus Riley Osborne. We get speed, basically high flying versus power. Osborne with kicks. Femi swats the drop kick away. Front chancery applied. Oba then passes him to the floor and back inside as they go to break. Back from commercial, Femi with a bear hug. Osborne struggling, throwing forearms. Oba then grabs a waist lock, but he escapes with a pair of jawbreakers. Femi cuts him off. Riley sidesteps the charge and posts him. Big right hand, whip reverse, looking for a crucifix. Shift to a sunset flip. Oba blocks. Osborne then ducks a lariat, big tiaras. Drop kick, standing corkscrew moonsault off the top rope. Nobody home. Femi with snake eyes, huge, tossing blue thunder driver. And then we get Oba Femi winning by pinfall with a power bomb. So, yeah, the guy who probably had to be the odds-on favorite does win the NXT Men's Breakout Tournament. And we get, before that, we get the formation of looks like a new team with Baron and Braun. We get Gigi and Cora kind of moving forward. And we get, hey, I'm Rich Holland. I don't mean to injure people. It just happens kind of interview. And Thea, dorky Thea, with her little schoolgirl crush on Riley Osborne right before the match. So lots of stuff going on here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the formation of the Breaker and Baron team, two guys that I've always been a big fan of. Despite Baron not having too many fans, I have always been one of them. And
I like the guy too.
yeah. I'm just saying we're few and far between.
Yes, we stick together.
Yeah.
The Corbinites, right? Is that what you call ourselves? The Corbinites.
But yeah, the prospect of him and Braun being a team is something that definitely excited me. For sure. Gigi and Cora kind of going after each other, a good little matchup that is something that would excite me to see, and definitely a matchup that we would love to all watch, I'm sure. And then the Ridge Holland interview, talking about injuries that he's had, injuries that he's caused. It's just trying to. I don't know if it's really trying to get sympathy for him. I guess that's what it's trying to do, but I don't know if it necessarily works for me specifically. But I honestly think if they're gonna play this whole game, it needs to be like something that turns into him like intentionally hurting people, and instead of like accidentally doing it and kind of being a face about it. He needs to kind of just tear through people and kind of not intentionally hurt people. You know what I mean? Like character wise, it needs to be kind of a rage kind of thing or something like that going forward. And then the finals of the Breakout. When the finals was him and Oba Femi and Riley, you definitely knew Oba Femi was coming away with it just from how dominant he's been. And he was dominant in this one as well. This one was a good back and forth. This is a little bit more back and forth than any of Oba Femi's matches had been to that point. But he was definitely the guy to give it to, and he was super impressive throughout the whole tournament.
All right. So we get a bunch of backstage promos, what have you. We get Out the Mud cutting a promo on the D'Angelo family, saying that then when they're done, that they'll all be left. The family is a nickname. We get an Izzy Dame and Kiana James interview. Basically, James saying Izzy is loyal to a T, willing to step on anyone to get where she's going. Kiana says she's here to make friends and money. And in 2024, she's going to make sure everyone knows who Izzy Dame is. And we get Trick Williams backstage upset with Melo for putting his title shot on the line. Melo says when he's champ, he's going to take on all comers and he needs to practice, and further that he believes in him and that he'll be by his side the whole way. Trick stops him short and tells him he's going to do this by himself. Melo gives him crap for it. Then we go to break. Back from commercial, we get Thea Hale excited and wants to text Riley Osborne or maybe buy him a gift card, and Duke Hudson and Andre Chase roll up. She says that Riley represented Chase U with pride and they need to gear up for the Dusty Classic. JC Jane then tells him that she's taking charge and Andre is going to focus on clearing the debt while Hudson and Osborne team. She's going to dig down and bring Chase U up from the depths of hell and back into profit. Then they go off together. Tam Paxley then rolls up on Lara Valkyria to be a weird fangirl at her. We get Axiom Nathan Frazer chatting backstage. Axiom wants to be in the Dusty Classic together. Nathan is all about talking about trash about established teams in the division as Malik Blade and Idris Enofe roll up behind him. Then we get Nathan slowly realizing and continuing that he's right behind me gimmick. Then we get the D'Angelo family cutting a promo on OTM about how a deal is a deal and they're going to fight next week. And they finally formally introduce us to the glue of the D'Angelo family, Adriana Rizzo. Awesome name for an Italian girl right there. And then they go into the car. Joe Gacy then pops out of the truck explaining he needed a quiet place to think. As for the guy he replaced, he thought he was going to the bridge. So see ya. So lots of backstage stuff, a lot of moving forward of like some character stuff and, some feud stuff. And, anything of note you want to mention out of what I just talked about?
Yeah, like you said, just a bunch of storyline progression. Obviously pushing the D'Angelo family and out the mud rivalry going forward. They're going to have a tag title match, it seems like, at some point. Kind of pushing the Kiana and Izzy Dame partnership, and kind of who they are to each other, what they're going to be to each other, that they're in it together, and Izzy's going to make sure her name is known throughout the rest of the year. Again, kind of pushing some Trick and Carmelo kind of tension. Obviously Melo kind of offered up Trick's title match, and Trick wasn't a big fan of that, but obviously Melo turns it around and hypes him up and says, "You got this, man, don't worry about it." And then I like JC kind of taking control of Chase U and saying that Andre's not going to wrestle in the Dusty Classic. He needs to worry about other things and getting his university back in order. So and then Tatum kind of stalking and being a huge fangirl of Lyra is definitely an interesting storyline. I'd say it's not the most interesting, but it definitely interested to see where it eventually leads. And then obviously, like you said, Nathan kind of flubs himself again, and messes with Nofe and Blade and kind of talks crap about him and gets caught in that. So. Yeah, not too much other than some storyline advancing for sure.
Yeah, if there are two guys that you wouldn't think would be in it, they're standing behind me on the other side of that, would be Blade and No Face.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of did chuckle at that a little bit. Yeah, and the Tatum stuff, we've seen this kind of thing before. Of course, we had Mickey and Trish. We had Tori, right? And who was Tori? Was Tori and Trish also? Was that a thing? Right? Remember the original Tori, not Tori.
The other Tori. Oh, it was Tori and Sable.
Tori and Sable, that was it. Yeah, so we've seen that before to different degrees. We've never had one kind of like basically almost like cosplaying. Is that one, which is what's going to be coming soon. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Tatum has really been getting better and moving into the forefront. I kind of wanted to see her be in the Coven. I still like that name, although I am kind of digging the Unholy Union. Unholy Union. I kind of like that name, but low key love the one I came up with. All right, moving on to our main event of this episode. We have Grayson Waller versus Trick Williams. That Trick's championship #1 contenders ship is on the line, and then we get to go off there, jawing at each other. We got Waller with a hard right hand, punches into the corner, body blows, action to the floor. We get Waller in control as they go to break. Back from commercial, Trick hits a suplex with some breathing room. Trick then punching his way into the corner, beating him down, but then Waller cuts him off into a half crab. Trick crawls, gets to the ropes to force the break. Waller jawing at him. Williams cuts him down, hits him with a flapjack, hungs him over the ropes. Rolling Thunder counter with a huge haymaker. Then we get another big near fall with Waller's foot's on the rope. Then we get Grayson with his own near fall in return. Waller off the top rope, nobody home, jumping neck breaker from Trick. Carmelo then runs down. Trick argues with him while Grayson is taking a breather. And then Kevin Owens is here to knock him out with one punch. KO then throws him back to the ring. Trick is ready for him. Then we get Trick hitting the rising knee, getting the win via pinfall, retaining his #1 contendership for the NXT Championship. And, I thought this was a fun match. I really enjoyed this. I love the KO showing up, just hitting him with a punch, and that was it. And, yeah, good way to end this episode, first one of the year. And I thought New Year's Evil was a pretty solid show. What are your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, definitely a solid show, and it's good to see KO show up here. He's never been one to be above coming back down to NXT to show some love and make an appearance and make a difference, of course, and definitely does that here for Trick. Kind of assisting him with the win. I think Trick held his own with Waller throughout, and he probably would have won anyways. But it never hurts to have a little help from a friend. But yeah, a big win for Trick here over an established main roster talent. So definitely a huge win for him ahead of his eventual title match whenever he does get it.
All right, so moving on to the episode from January 9th, 2024. We get a moments to go footage of Blair Davenport attacking Nikhil Lyons in the parking lot, and the brawl spills over into the arena. They trade face smashes into the apron, roll inside. The referee calls for the bell. We get our Blair Davenport versus Nikhil Lyons match to start. We get Lyons in control early with a big vertical suplex connecting, big kick for a near fall. Davenport recovers, big knee drop, club and blows, front chancery applied, but Nikita posts up on her feet. Off the ropes, Lyon drops her with kick, slingshot, twisting, imploding bonsai drop, but only a near fall. Blair cuts her off, chop block, double wrist clutch, and we get Blair Davenport winning by pinfall with her Kamigoye. Is that what the move is called?
I believe so.
Yeah, and then so we'll pause there because it's just the opening match. I thought this was fine. I kind of like showing a little fire here with Nikita. Blair needs to be kept strong after her loss from last week. I think Nikita's still got a little ways to go, but I could see her. She's, believe it or not, she's probably one of the more senior members of the women's roster here in NXT. So I picture her being in the title picture before long. I mean, here's the thing. There is a pretty large roster of women down there, right? Do you think they should introduce a secondary title for the women, like an NXT North American Women's Championship? Because I think, we have the two titles on the main roster, and I think that if they introduce secondary titles, it's way too many titles for the women. But in NXT, I think, I think the women need something else to fight over. I mean, those women that are like not in the title picture, or maybe, up and comers, like somebody like maybe, you see like not Cora, but like Ariana Grace, like, maybe even Gigi could be somebody that could, like, I mean, I can't see a lot of them winning the NXT Women's Championship, but giving them a secondary title, giving them a little more something to fight over, giving the matches a little more stake, I think would be something. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be a thing that they do. It could be a good test case for the main roster as well. If they ever wanted to do something like that on the main roster, they could definitely try it out in NXT to kind of see how it would work. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think it could be a good thing because, I mean, even main roster wise, they are so deep on all sides, really. I mean, there's just so many good and talented superstars on the main roster and in NXT at this point. So, definitely more for some of those people to fight for is definitely a good idea. I would not ever suggest bringing the tag titles back because I just think you're at that point you're forcing too many people together just to kind of make a team and make a division that doesn't really need to or does exist outside of the fact that they're fighting for the titles. So definitely a singles belt could be something that they could look at for sure. But this match was probably the first in a series of matches. I would think Blair getting the first victory is definitely not a surprise here. I think Nikita will eventually get her revenge, but Blair taking this one wasn't a surprise.
All right. So we get Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes struggling over the fall from last week. We get Melo trying to cheer up Trick by telling him he got them an entry into the Dusty Classic. By the end of their talk, Trick does end up coming around, and we get our first contest in the Dusty's Tag Team Classic first round. We got Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker versus Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang. We get Breaker and Coffee to start. Soon enough, Wolfgang comes in. Braun has the same answer for both men. We get free training with them with ease. We get tag to Corbin, working Wolfgang over. Gallus then turns the tide. Then Baron with a near fall. The match breaks down. We get a big deep 6 on Mark, and all 4 men are down and out. Corbin and chokes Coffee in the corner. Wolfgang saves his partner, but Baron comes to cut him off, and then we get Wolfgang ducking a punch. Corbin punches Steele. Mark works his hand over, smashing into the announce desk and then onto the apron. Back inside, choking Baron, working him over with quick tags. Braun with the hot tag, fireman's carry gutbuster, German suplex, flipped into an ace crusher. We get Corbin tags in, spear clears the way, and we get end of days from Corbin on Mark Coffee with getting Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin the win. So I thought this was a fun match here. I mean, Gallus is one of those kind of like, they're kind of treading water right now. I feel like, the makeshift teams are getting the victories over the established teams, which I think is good. But, sometimes it's like, why did you bother having these, other teams? But, yeah, what do you think of, the Trick and Mello getting into the Dusty Cup Classic and then this tag match?
Yeah, definitely an interesting direction for Trick and Mello. Obviously you would think, I believe they've announced that the finals to this is going to be at Vengeance Day. So with Trick not getting his title match at New Year's Evil, you would think it would seem like he would get it there. So obviously if they make it to the finals of this, it seems like he might have maybe more than one match in a night, and that could play to his, it definitely doesn't play to his favor in that scenario. And I think he kind of shows that when he kind of isn't into the idea at first. But the Corbin and Breaker versus Gallus match was, I thought it was really good. Real hard hitting, real stiff match throughout. But yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from with the two singles guys kind of beating the established teams is not always the best way to go about it. I think it does make these kind of tournaments more exciting to kind of have these makeshift teams, but it doesn't do much for the division going forward. Because as we'll talk about later, I don't know that Braun's going to be around too horribly much longer. Yeah.
I mean, it's good for the tournament, but it kind of eats up the division a little bit. I think. So,
yeah, I'm saying, and the men's tag division's already not super deep at this point. I mean, they have a lot of teams, but I just don't know that there's that standout that's really looking like they might take out the D'Angelos. So
yeah,
but we'll see.
All right. So we got our first video of Tiffany Stratton's day as a ranch hand on Fallon Henley's ranch. Tiffany shows up in a pink sparkly cowgirl outfit, turns down Henley's clothes, proceeds to freak out every turn as Fallon describes the day of work they have in front of them. Then we get Lyra in the ring, and on the mic, she says she and Blair Davenport kicked the crap out of each other, but she's still champion and confident she'll remain champion through all of 2024. The question for now is who's she going to fight at Vengeance Day? Well, I'll find out next week because Ava Raine told her that there'll be a 20-women battle royal with a twist. The final 4 entrants remaining will compete in a 4-way match to determine the number 1 contender to the NXT Women's Championship. We get Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez interrupting. Lola says that the only reason that Lyra's still champ is that she got stopped from cashing in, and Valkyria tells her she gets it. She thought Lola would come here and turn the place upside down, but all she does is talk about what she's going to do. Lyra isn't here to watch her shake her ass on Instagram. She's here to fight Lola, the cage fighter. Lola then says everyone loves her, but she can't help it. The people are like sheep who follow her every move, but she can't blame them for loving her Latina heat. Lyra says the only Latina heat she sees coming is from Elektra Lopez, who held Legado del Fantasma together. And when is she going to break it to her bestie that she has no intent of cashing in for a tag title match? She'll make it easy. She wants a title match here and now. Lopez cuts her off with an elbow. They brawl. Tam Paxley then arrives to even the numbers game, and all 4 will enjoy each other. Then we get Metaphor backstage chatting when Josh Briggs rolls up. They try to offer him a safe space, talk about his breakup with Brooks Jensen and Fallon Henley, but he refuses and challenges him to a rematch as we go to break. All right, so I like this. The Tiffany stuff we knew was going to be comedy gold. which is really goes into both characters. We got Lyra in the ring, kind of announcing what's going to happen with the Battle Royal. We got Lola and Elektra with the seeds of breakup being planted even more here. Yeah, and I thought that was a lot of fun. I kind of am interested to see where we go. And there were been some twists and turns in the Lola Elektra, as we'll get to a little bit later. So what do you think of this little promo thing and the announcement of the Battle Royal with a twist?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tiffany saying something, or Fallon's describing what's going to be done throughout the day on the farm. She talks about mucking the stalls or something like that at one point, and Tiffany's like, "Excuse me, what does mucking mean?" and it's just hilarious. I don't know if it happened in this segment. It might have been in the next one, but I just thought that was a hilarious line, and Fallon's face and kind of how she reacted to any question that Tiffany had was just really, really good, funny stuff. And yeah, the in-ring segment between Lola and Elektra and Lyra kind of showed what Lola can do on the mic. She can go back and forth with Lyra, so that's a good thing for her, being kind of new to the game. But yeah, and obviously it continues to tease the dissension between Elektra and her. And it's exciting to have the Battle Royal coming up, so that they can name a new number one contender. And I like the idea of it coming down to the Final Four and it kind of turning into a winner take all kind of situation. So that's definitely cool.
All right, so then we get Luca Crucifini complaining Ava Reina, his feet were under the ropes, and she waves him off, saying that she'll look into it. Dragon Lee then rolls up, says he's back and ready to go. Lexis King rolls up, demands a challenge, and Lee says he's ready. Lexis says he's always ready too, which is why he had a contract drawn up. Dragon signs the contract, says he'll see him tonight. Move on to a singles match between Josh Briggs and Oro Mensah. Briggs hot out of the gates, big slam. Then Last Legend pulls her pal out of the ring and cuts Josh off in the corner. Kicks, overhand clubs, a valiant effort, but Briggs plants him with a choke slam off the ropes, and Josh Briggs wins via pinfall with a lariat. Then we get to more footage of Tiffany Stratton in her darling pink cowgirl outfit, shoveling shit, moving hay, whatnot. She asks for a break, but Fallon tells her that it's the only first of today's tasks, and somebody comes by and tells her a horse needs washing. Of course, it's Tiffany's job to wash the horse. After she finishes washing the horse, she says she's done. But Fallon points out you can't put a clean horse in a dirty stall and gives her a pink shovel and tells her to get to mucking like you had.
There you go. That's
All right. So we get a little bit of backstage stuff here with Lexis King, Luca Crucifini. Not sure what we're doing there. But, we get a little match here between Josh and Oro Mensah. Oro's kind of the fall guy of the metaphor on the men's side, at least right now, to protect Noam Dar. And Briggs needs, some wins here. And then we continue on with the Tiffany on the ranch. Anything else of mention here?
Yeah, I mean, King getting the North American title match and using Crucifino as his legal counsel to get him that match was a pretty smart idea by King there. And Briggs looked really good in his match with Oro. Gets a big win. Obviously, pretty much with ease. And he hits that a big clothesline to kind of hype up JBL, that I know is a big fan of Josh Briggs there. So I'm sure he loved the lariat in the match. And yeah, like I said, like the mucking the stalls and Tiffany asking, "What does mucking mean?" just made me laugh so hard. So yeah, just all that stuff was comedy gold, and I loved all of it.
All right, move on to an NXT Tag Team title match. We got the D'Angelo family defending against OTM. We get Stacks and Neiman to start. Bronco catches him. He slips out, tag to Tony D. Tony comes in with right hands, whip across, shoulder block, tag to Stacks, and then they cut Nima down. Tag in from Price. All four men are in the ring together. Things then settle back down. Lorenzo is in control, but Lucian not far out. We get a tag from Bronco, kick to the spine. Channing then knocks him down. Low bridge for Price. Nima cuts him off. Bulldog to the floor. They go to break. Back from commercial, OTM is in control, working Lorenzo over. Tony with the hot tag, blockbuster for 2. Then we get Nima tagging, cutting D'Angelo off, double Olympic slam. We get passing Stacks to the floor, off the ropes, back body drop power slam. We got bada bing hits, but it's not enough. Scripps off the top. Adriana Rizzo runs interference. Stacks takes Nima out with a plancha. D'Angelo Family wins via pinfall with the Fisherman Buster from Tony D'Angelo and Lucian Price, retaining the NXT Tag Team Championship. Then we get an NXT Anonymous footage of JC Jane telling her gremlins that she knows how to save Chase U from debt and lays it out for them. So, yeah, this was a decent little match. OTM is improving, and, the D'Angelo family has really come so far in, the time they've been together. And adding Adriana Rizzo to the group, I think, just makes them even better. That she, she neutralizes Scripps, which is not hard to do, apparently. All right, so what do you think about this tag match here?
Yeah, I like the addition. I always thought they needed a third guy or girl to kind of, help them out in these situations where they're kind of overmatched or, outmanned in these type of situations. But yeah, it's a super entertaining match. I definitely thought Out the Mud didn't seem like they were overmatched here at all. I definitely think they didn't disappear in the spotlight like some teams could in these type of situations where they get their first big shot at a title alone. They've been in fatal 4-ways and stuff like that, but they were obviously there to be the fall guys in the match that they had previously. But their first got 2-on-2 tag team match with the champs. I definitely think they lived up to the hype that they've kind of been putting behind them. So really, really solid match and a good title defense by Tony D and Stacks.
All right. So we get Oba Femi being interviewed backstage. Says his breakout tournament contract means he can become a champion at any time. Lexus King rolls up, says that all that matters is he earned a title shot by winning a tournament, but he slipped in and got himself his own title shot. He tells Oba he's a future NXT champion, but he's going to win the NXT North American Championship tonight, and the drinks will be on him. Femi asks if it's the main event. The interviewer says it is. He said he looks at his contract meaningfully. We get Cora Jade making her entrance as they go to break. Back from commercial, Gallus is struggling after their loss, and Joe Coffey calls Ridge Holland out as he walks by. Ridge tells him he's not afraid. Coffey then threatens him. We move on to our next match, which is Cora Jade versus Gigi Dolan. Jade with underhooks out the gates, arm drag blocks, kick combo, gets Dolan a near fall. Cora with kicks in the corner, choking her, sliding back elbow in the ropes. Forearm sets up an STO from Gigi, drop kick into the ropes, looking for the Cobra twist, but Cora grabs the ref and blocks. Cora underhooks and hits the butterfly DDT and gets the win via pinfall. Then we get back from commercial. We get OTM out in the parking lot. They talk to a woman who knows the solutions to their problems. Turns out to, I believe, be Jada Parker, and they leave together. So we get this, Oba Femi, is he going to cash in on the NXT North American title tonight after, Lexus King weaseled his way into a match with Dragon Lee? We get a short match here between Cora and Gigi. Of course, Cora, being recently returned, is going to get the win here. And then, we get OTM, talking to a woman. Maybe, they could be getting somebody to neutralize the Adriana Rizzo, who's neutralizing Scripps. And it's a whole big, now I've gone cross-eyed talking about neutralizing. Logan, what do you think of what happened here?
Yeah, as I say, now that they've added a woman now that the D'Angelo family needs another guy. So
yeah, I know. It's just going to be ongoing. It's never ending.
It never ends. But yeah, Oba Femi obviously seems somewhat conflicted about what he's going to do with his contract, whether he wants to do it now or maybe later, kind of hold on to it, see what opportunities kind of present himself. But he's obviously thinking about doing something sooner rather than later. The Gigi Cora match was pretty short. For something that they've been building for a few weeks, it was kind of disappointing for the fact that it was as short as it was. But obviously, just another match to kind of get Cora over, continue her push, and continue her ascension. seemingly probably towards a big title match at some point. But yeah, definitely seems like she's headed for big things at this point with this win over Gigi. And then OTM kind of gets that female sidekick that the D'Angelo family has just kind of obtained. So definitely seems like they're kind of evening the odds in that one.
All right, we'll go on to our next match in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We got Axiom and Nathan Frazer versus Hank and Tank. Kind of a quick match. We get Axiom and Nathan Frazer winning by pinfall with the fleeting splash from Frazer on Hank Walker. We get another Tiffany video here. We got where she says she's going to erase every disgusting memory from her mind while Fallon Henley and her crew laugh at her. Tiffany tells her she knows what it's like to be a Fallon now, and there's something wrong with her if she thinks this is a life worth living, and she's leaving. Tiffany then steps in horse poop and falls into a tub of water, has a meltdown as the normies leave, laughing at her. Back from commercial, we get Idris Enofe and Malik Blade walking and talking excited about this year's Dusty Classic and their opponents next week, Trick and Mello. We get Thea Hale rolling up to ask if they want to change their lives, and she wants to start with some stretching. Selling them on having six-packs, but they show off their abs. Then we get Dragon Lee versus Lexis King. Actually, we'll pause here for a second because there's a lot of big stuff that's about to happen. So we get, Axiom and Nathan Frazer moving on in the tournament. We get the Tiffany stuff here coming to a close, and some backstage stuff with, Thea trying to, I guess, I don't know if she's trying to get them to sign up for training to make some money for Chase U. I don't know what's going on here. But what are your thoughts on the really short Axiom Frazer Tank and Tank match and the ending? Right, this is the last vignette we get for the Tiffany stuff. So
yeah, Axiom and Nathan winning here wasn't a surprise. They're super exciting to watch. And Hank and Tank kind of held their end of it, but Axiom and Frazer were definitely always going over. But they were impressive in doing so. Kind of the finish to the Tiffany being the ranch hand was entertaining as the other ones had been. So definitely a good little show kind of storyline throughout, and some good vignettes that we got to see. And then the whole Chase U thing, it was kind of getting old there for a while, but I feel like it's kind of ramped back up, and I kind of want to see where this kind of ends up, because I kind of don't know where I see it going, but I'm definitely interested to kind of see it continue to progress.
All right. So we got Dragon Lee versus Lexis King for the NXT North American Championship. Here we got collar and elbow struggling into the ropes. Lee breaks clean, and with a pat on the chest, back into the lockup into the corner. King breaks clean and waves Dragon over. We get a headlock takeover from the champion, wrenching it in off the ropes. Drop kick connects. Lexis then knocks the champ to the floor with a drop kick of his own. Plancha dodge. King stumbles to the floor as Trey Bearhill is escorted away from ringside. Lee with a dive, and we go to break. Back for commercial, trading punches. Back body drop sends Lee to the apron. Kick. Head scissors takeover. Running kick in the corner. Slingshot. Drop kick. Cover for two. Rising knee gets the Northern Lariat. King draws him up. Northern Lights bomb. And we get a super kick from the champion. And Dragon Lee wins via pinfall with Operation Dragon, retaining NXT North American Championship. But then here comes Oba Femi, and he wants to cash in his NXT men's breakout tournament contract. And that leads into Dragon Lee defending against Oba Femi. We get Dragon is game to fight, big dive, back inside, right hands. Femi shoves him away. Enziguri connects, block the whip, clobbering Dragon in the ropes. Huge tossing powerbomb. Oba lines him up, but Lee cuts him off with a super kick right on the button. Tornado DDT connects, crawling into the cover. Then we get Oba swings him up, toss around, last ride, and Oba Femi wins via pinfall, becoming your new North American champion. And Oba celebrates to close the show. So yeah, I thought the Dragon Lee Lexis King match was all right, not bad. Going into I knew we knew we were going to get a cash in once the whole Lexis King stuff happened backstage, but we get I wasn't expecting him to cash in that quickly, but Dragon Lee being pretty much a main roster guy, needed to probably wasn't going to be hanging out in NXT that much longer. But I thought it was good. He's kind of a beast. I mean, whoever, ends up beating him is going to get a huge feather in their cap. But, I kind of like it. The guy, is not terrible on the mic for a guy who's relatively new. But, I thought this was a fun end to the show. Kind of a little shocking surprise here that we have a new champion that we didn't even know was going to happen before the end of the night, before the start of the night. So what are your thoughts on the main event here?
Yeah, the King Lee match, it wasn't the best match that Dragon Lee's had, but Dragon Lee's one of those guys that, no matter who he's in there with, he's gonna entertain you. Lexus King's just not he's not the most exciting guy to watch in the ring. I don't really know how to describe him. He just nothing he does is super flashy, but he's a good base for a guy like Dragon Lee, and Dragon Lee could do some good stuff with him. Mm-hmm. The shock of Oba Femi actually cashing in here at the end was definitely a surprise. Definitely not something I didn't see coming. He wins. Obviously, when Dragon Lee won the title, it didn't seem like it was really intended for him, but somebody needed to take the title off of old Dirty Dom when it happened. But so it never really seemed like Dragon Lee was going to have a super long reign. But I definitely didn't see Oba Femi being the guy that was going to end up beating him, because Dragon Lee's on SmackDown full time. So it never seemed like he was going to have a super long reign. But this is definitely not who I saw being the one to take it away from him. But definitely an exciting prospect for sure. Yeah,
definitely a shocking surprise. That's, got to tune in to Tuesdays, man. You don't know what you're going to miss. Mm-hmm. Right? Exactly. So we go to the show on January 16th. We get Idris Enofe and Malik Blade versus Trick Mellow Gang in the first round of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We get, Blade and Hayes to start, filling out, leads to a stalemate, tag to Enofe, but Williams is in right behind him, takes control of the match, scoops and slams, big right hand lariat, takes Malik out and tag back to Mello. Off the top, nobody home, Blade cuts him down with elbows, takes Williams off the apron with a drop kick, and we get Hayes with a super kick, tag to Idris, waistlock, shove off, roll under, drop kick right on the button, tag back to Trick, arm drag from Enofe, but Trick Mello turned the tide back. Tag to Blade, cuts Trick off, double teams, dives, and Enofe and Blade are in control as we go to break. Back from commercial, Carmelo with a reverse chinlock. Enofe shoves him into the corner break. Tag to Blade, and they cut Carmelo down. Mounted punches from Idris. Match breaks down. Everybody do something cool. Then we get Idris with a diving elbow for 2. We get Carmelo tagging in, springboard lariat, spine buster from Malik, but Trick Willie tags in. And we get Trick Williams hits the his finisher and gets the win. And that was a fun opener here, right? I thought these guys all went at it, and the team that you thought was going to win won. So what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, exactly. You always knew Trick and Mello were going to win this one. But, Idris and Malik definitely brought their end of this one. I think they're somebody we've always kind of, I won't say shit on. We haven't been the hugest fan of them, but they definitely brought their end of this one. Definitely, played up to the opportunity that they had here, going against some true main eventers on NXT, and they showed out for sure. So this is kind of one of those NXT openers that we've gotten used to. This definitely had that feel to it. There was a lot of speed, a lot of high flying. So definitely a solid way to open this episode.
All right, so we get Fallon Henley interviewed backstage. Says down to brass tacks because she never had a title shot before. Has to go through 19 other women in order to get one, but she's going to put on her work boots, make it to the final 4. She has 3 words for us. Yeehaw, bitch. All right. Then we get a recap from last week of Dragon Lee. They're pushing it, man. Tony Storm is saying tits every week over there on AEW. She could say bitch here, right? All right. So we get a recap of Dragon Lee winning the North American Championship. It's title reign and Oba Femi dethroning him last week. Then we get Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez walking backstage, and Lopez's big plans to win the Battle Royal make it a triple threat. When Tam Paxley appears in a window to be creepy and says she's going to win and not challenge Lyra Valkyria because no one gets near her champion. Then we get Oba Femi making his entrance. He gets on the mic. says he knows that we are surprised to see him as North American champion, but this prophecy has been long foretold, and there was going to be a juggernaut drenched in gold. He always knew he was going to be the biggest, tallest, and fastest, the embodiment of the term that means war leader. He was tested as a young Nigerian prince, and in the NCAA as a D1 athlete, he made that world his home, winning title after title. Now he's here in NXT. The goal is still the same. He's already made his mark by dropping 3 men and Dragon Lee, and now with this title, he has divine right to rule all over all of us. He will crush to dust every man that stands in his way. We get Dragon Lee entering, gets on the mic, asks Femi how's this going, says he can't be mad after last week. Oba is hungry and took his moment. Nobody in NXT history has made the kind of impact he has. I don't know about that. Holding the title is significant because it represents opportunity, and he hopes Femi will keep the open challenges going, and he wants one tonight. Oba Femi tells him the open challenges are now closed, so Dragon shifts gears and says he wants his rematch at Vengeance Day. Femi tells him he doesn't get to decide anymore. He does, and he takes his leave. Okay, so a lot going on here with Oba Femi, kind of like, talking about, how great he is and how it was destined. Now, Logan, you're a big college football guy. Do you remember him playing at all? You remember where he played?
I do not remember him to my knowledge. But he definitely is a hoss, so I could see him being a really good, probably defensive lineman or somebody that's going for the quarterback, going to rec shop. So I don't remember him specifically for sure, but I'm sure he was a hoss and a badass on the football field, like he is in the wrestling ring so far. So, but yeah, kind of showed a little bit more personality, maybe kind of showing that he's a more of a heel than anything. Because he's not going to kind of continue Dragon Lee's little open challenges. He's going to kind of pick his spots. So definitely an interesting turn. I figured they might make him just a badass face, but it seemed like they might make him a badass heel. So we'll see. But definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting promo, and he wore a hell of a turtleneck during this.
I know that
promo,
was a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
So I assumed, I forgot that he had talked about being like a track and field guy. He was a football player actually. Isaac Odugbisian, that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in '98. He was he went to Middle Tennessee State University.
Okay.
And won the Conference USA title. Well, then he transferred to the University of Alabama in summer of 2019, where he won the shot put title at the SEC Indoor Track and Field Championships in 2021 and 2022. So yeah, that was guy was a D1 athlete. I mean, shot put, woof, that is some tough stuff there. But yeah, so we get I think the guy's going to be good. He's a little green, but he's in the right place to kind of move forward. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Jade Cargill, actually. Got a great body, great look, is good in the ring, but he needs time. He needs to season. He needs to get better, make his game well rounded. So there's a really big upside to this guy, though. So we're excited to see what happens here. Mm-hmm. Then we see Eddie Thorpe holding court in the locker room earlier that day, and we get he talks about beating down Dijak when Trey Bearhill rolls up, thanks him for representing their culture. They share details about their heritage and the assholes they deal with when one such an asshole rolls up in front of Dijak. Then we get Bearhill getting in Dijak's face. Dijak mocks his culture and saying it didn't teach him how to quit, and they set up a match. Then we get Lyra making her entrance, Tam Paxley shadowing her in her own set of feathers as we go to break. Then we get Trick Miller Gang talking up their big win while Dragunov rolls up. He says he's cleared now as NXT champion. He let down. And Trick deserves a title match on a big stage, so it'll be Vengeance Day. Trick is excited, but Hayes is upset because that's when the Dusty Cup finals are. Then move on to a tag match between Elektra Lopez, Lola Vice versus Lyra Valkyria and Tam Paxley. We get Lopez and Valkyria to start up and over Cartwheel Schoolboy. Elektra kicks out. Whip reverse. Lyra with a wrecking ball drop kick, and Paxley does one of her own in her identical gear. Tatum is illegal. Cartwheel waistlock. Elektra shrugs her off and gets her isolated for a tag. Kick cover for 2. Quick tags. Then Lara tags back in and goes to town, bridging Northern Light suplex for 2. Tatum tags back in, up top, perching and diving cross body. Vice breaks it up into the chaos. Paxley goes down and falls into the cover. And we get Lyra Valkyrie and Tatum Vice winning by a pinfall with a flop pin from Paxley on Elektra Lopez after she basically gets kicked out into the face and falls onto Elektra. So we get, some backstage stuff here with Eddie Thorpe and Dijak still. We get Trey Bearhill getting into the mix, and we get a decent tag match here for the women between Elektra Lopez and Lyra Valkyria and Tatum and Vice. So what are your thoughts on some of this backstage stuff in this women's tag match?
Yeah, it seemed like, after NXT Underground, it seemed like Eddie Thorpe was kind of done with Dijak, but maybe this is more of a transition for Dijak to kind of go with Trey Bearhill going forward. Kind of get him some matches against a real pro in Dijak. So we'll see where that one kind of goes. And then Trick and Dragunov have that little confrontation, kind of showing. Ilya kind of points out that if they advance through the Dusty Cup, he'll probably have to fight twice at Vengeance Day. So kind of pointing that out, kind of putting that in his head. And then the tag match was fine. Kind of put over Tatum's character of kind of being wanting to be everything like Lyra. So definitely an interesting development in that one. Kind of showing she even wore her outfit and the feathers and all that kind of stuff. So definitely entertaining development on that one. But a solid match nonetheless.
All right. Move on to a bunch of women on the roster in the locker room. Ariana Grace takes center stage, says to believe it is to achieve it, and that's why she's going to win. She keeps talking like it's an acceptance speech as the locker room empties one by one, and she's confused that there's nobody there. Move on to a match between Joe Coffey and Ridge Holland. Collar elbow broken back to the lockup. This time Coffey breaks it with a right hand off the ropes. Shoulder block and trading elbows, passing Joe into the corner. Big overhead belly-to-belly, back body drop, a release, Northern Lights, and Ridge is fired up. Then we got Ridge with shoulder blocks, a big right hand for Wolfgang on the apron. Coffey then hits a drop kick, short whips into the turnbuckles, backbreaker connects. Joe with a slingshot elbow drop, goes for the pin. Ridge with a hip toss, fireman's carry, drops him throat first against the top rope. Then we get Ridge Holland winning via pinfall with Northern Grit. Post-match, Gallus puts their boots to Ridge Holland at length, taunting him that no one is coming to help. Then we get an NXT Anonymous video in JC Jane's Chase U fundraising brain center, where she talks about the work they've done and wishes JC Jane and Karma Petrovic good luck. Whoever wrote this messed up. In the Battle Royal tonight, she asks one of the women to stay back and invites her out for drinks. Then we get a Baron Corbin interview backstage. He rolls up to complain that Braun Breaker rolls up to complain that Baron gave him the wrong time for their interview. Corbin then shushes him and tells him a story about how he took Braun under his wing and led them to victory. But then Breaker tells the opposite story. Braun gives them a team name, the Wolf Dogs, and Baron takes issue with it. Breaker thinks he was thinking about it in the shower. Corbin has some panic there about him thinking about him in the shower and vetoes the Wolf Dogs gimmick. Braun asks the interviewer to be honest, and she says they're both assholes. Breaker then tells Baron to come up with a name himself. Corbin says he's supposed to be the creative one. Braun offers up wild boars, but Baron walks off shaking his head. Okay, so we get, a match between Joe Coffey and Ridge Holland. I'm still unsure why Ridge Holland is getting this kind of repackaged, this look. He's a guy, honestly, I thought he was brought up to the main roster way too quickly. I thought he should have stayed in NXT. So I think, maybe they see something there. I mean, I'm sure the guy's fine. I mean, Joe Coffey, the guy can't get a win, it seems like, lately. I know he's your favorite guy. And we continue on with this JC Jane kind of stuff going on here, that we're not supposed to really know about. And we get the continued bickering here between Corbin and Breaker. So what are your thoughts on this section of the show?
Yeah, the Holland coffee match. Not much going on there. A match, or just a way to get Ridge Holland to win over somebody that's kind of established on NXT. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't really know what the deal is here. But yeah, I definitely agree with you that back when he got called up, it was definitely a shock, and I thought he was somebody that could definitely use a lot more seasoning when they did originally call him up. So maybe this is them trying to kind of redux that a little bit. And obviously they attack him afterwards. So this rivalry and kind of the way this is going isn't going anywhere. More JC stuff with Chase U. I'm kind of interested again to kind of see where this goes. And what she's really doing behind the scenes that, like you said, we're not seeing. And more women talking about the Battle Royal later tonight, talking about how excited they are for the opportunity to be able to maybe have a title match at a PLE. And then I thought the Baron Braun interview was some good stuff, some good comedy. Braun trying to be cool, thinking about Baron in the shower and stuff like that, or just the team in the shower. It was a really good comedy spot for sure, and showed that they can kind of do that part of it too.
All right, moving on. We get sorry, I lost my place for a second. All right, so we get Chase U, Duke Hudson, Riley Osborne versus the Latino World Order, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde in the first round matchup of the Dusty Rose Tag Team Classic. We got Osborne and del Toro to start, training near falls. A little bit of mat grappling, tag to Wilde, double teams, and a 2 count. Riley up and over, Joaquin with a drop kick on the button, but Osborne gets away, makes a tag. Side slam cuts Wilde off, tags to del Toro. Hudson clotheslines both of them to the floor and tags Riley back in. Osborne off the ropes, space flying tiger drop, and we go to break. Back for commercial. The LWO is in control, working Osborne over, and he won't stay down. Riley gets some separation with a corkscrew senton atomico, and he makes the tag. Duke in, hot big boot, flip flop fly, and powerbomb lift, but Cruz slips out. Kick combo, poison Frankensteiner connects. Del Toro fired up in the corner. He charges into a rock bottom, still no. Another powerbomb lift. Cruz slips out again. Super kick and tag to Wilde. Boss slam from Hudson, but Del Toro isn't legal. Joaquin with a missile dropkick, slingshot to the apron, super kick, senton atomico, tope into a tornado DDT. Back in, tag main, moonsault, Del Toro off the top ropes. And we get the Latino World Order winning via pinfall with a Phoenix Splash from Cruz del Toro on Duke Hudson. I thought this was a really fun match. I am digging the Latino World Order. Duke Hudson, probably one of the best hot tags right now we got going on in WWE. And Riley Osborne held his own. So, right team goes over here, even though LWO is technically a main roster team, but I don't have a problem with that. I think Chase U is all about losing right now, which is their story. And, yeah, I thought this was a good match, and we'll see what happens in the next round. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I was kind of expecting maybe Chase U to pick up the win here to kind of get some positive momentum, especially since Mr. Chase wasn't on the team. It was Duke and Riley in this scenario, so I thought they might actually steal the win. But I have like I said earlier, I have no problem with the LWO being featured here in NXT, and that they're super good in the ring, and there was that was definitely the case here as well. Like you said, Duke Hudson's one of the best hot tags in the business, like you said. So yeah, just a really solid match, and you know. It's good to see LWO move forward, and I think whoever they face up with next, they'll have a really good match as well. So, looking forward to that one.
All right. So we get Adriana Rizzo worried backstage. AD, I got worries here. You know what I'm saying? I growing up in New York, you know, right outside of the Bronx, knew a lot of Adriana Rizzos in my day. You know what I'm saying? That's why it kind of hits it. It kind of hits me. You know, I feel like I'm back in back in my college days here. And we got, Adriana Rizzo worried backstage when Tony D and Stacks rolls up. Worried about having her first match in tonight's Battle Royal. They give her a pep talk. Then we get back from commercial. Noam Dar and Oro Mensah awkwardly explaining the rules of the Heritage Cup to Von Wagner and Robert Stone. Then we get a match here between Dijak and Trey Bearhill. Joe Gacy and his pocket hot dog are on commentary for this one. Bearhill catches a kick, side head clock shot off.
Pocket hot dog.
Pocket hot dogs, you know. Hey, Off mic, I'll tell you a pocket Chinese food story. All right. Anyway, so we get shot off, duck underneath. Not my pocket. Off the ropes, drop down, leapfrog, back body drop, and Trey is fired up. Dijak cuts him off with a super kick, chops in the corner, big slam, cover for 2. Dropping an elbow for another near fall, overhand chops in the corner, straight side suplex connects. Elbow and a lariat sends Barrow to the floor. Dijak smashes his face into the apron, throws him into the barricade. Dijak jaws at Gacy. Joe headbutts him, and Trey gets fired up and brings the fight to Dijak. Back inside, overhand chop, rakes the back off the ropes, freight train crossbody for 2. Dijak comes back and gets the win via pinfall. Post-match, Joe Gacy attacks Dijak and they brawl up the ramp. Lexus King appears and drops Bearhill with a knee to the back of the head, straight jacket neckbreaker. And we go backstage. We see Josh Briggs when JBL rolls up. He asks JBL for advice. And John says what he's looking for isn't there, asks if he knows why he picked him for the Iron Survivor Challenge qualifier. Says Briggs has all the talent in the world, but he doesn't know who he is, and compares his own journey to being the wrestling god to Josh's yes to come. Okay, so, we get a little bit of backstage stuff with Adriana Rizzo as we continue to get introduced to her. We get a fine, kind of a hoss fight here between Dijak and Bearhill, kind of moving stuff forward with Joe Gacy getting involved as well as Lexus King. And then we get, Briggs getting the little bit of rub here from JBL. I could kind of see Briggs being like, a young JBL, back from his Justin Hawk Bradshaw days a little bit there, sans cowbell. But this was, this was all moving storylines forward. So I'm okay with all this stuff. Any thoughts here? Anything stand out?
Yeah, all Briggs needs is Uncle Zeb after that. So I'm sure he's floating around somewhere. But yeah, Bearhill and Dijak was a match to get Dijak over, get him a good win, and obviously push this new storyline that he's going to have with Joe Gacy, it seems. So definitely interested to see that one. I don't know how those two match up, but we'll see if they have a match coming up and see how that kind of goes. But obviously continued to push the Lexus King, Trey Bearhill. They keep kind of getting involved in each other's stuff, so they'll have a match somewhere down the line as well. Yeah, and if I don't know if JBL is going to kind of hang around, but it would be interesting to see him kind of guide Josh for the immediate future at least. But yeah, I kind of don't know if he'll hang around or not. But and then Noam having to explain the Heritage Cup rules to Vaughn was pretty entertaining as well.
Yeah. All right. So we get Izzy Dame and Count James making an entrance as we go to break. Then we get a hype reel for No Quarter Catch Rule crew. And then we get Trick Miller Gang back in the locker room talking about their troubles from earlier. And Trick has a solution. Just have both matches, win the Dusty and the NXT Championship at the same night. Mel tells him they can't sleep on the Latino World Order, and Trick gives him his word that he's focused on their team. Then we get some bad news that we had heard about over the weekend prior, that commentary informing us that Cora Jade has been injured and will be out of action for most of a year now. So really bad timing, big setback for Cora. Had just come back, was about to get a push. Before we get into this battle royal, I was really, excited to see Cora back. She's night and day from when she started as like that punk skater girl. Mm-hmm. Now she's been kind of like a brat and kind of like, we'll just say she had some surgery, so to speak. And no, it was really upsetting. Plus it happens at a house show. And I got to be honest, if she doesn't get injured, do you think she wins this battle royal tonight?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think they might have gone the way that they go anyways. I think Cora might have been more of a Mania weekend kind of opponent for Lyra.
Stand and deliver, yeah.
Yeah, I think she could have been maybe a stand and deliver, maybe even winner. So, but yeah, I think they might have gone the way that they go, because I think the match that we'll get after this battle royal, I think, is something that needed to happen before maybe the challenger goes to the main roster. So, but we'll get into that as the as we talk about the Battle Royal. But yeah, I think Cora definitely was going to get a shot on a big show coming up soon, but I don't know if it would have quite been this one coming up.
All right. Excuse me. All right, so got a lot to read here. We got the NXT Women's Championship #1 contenders Battle Royal. So 20 women in the ring, chaotic brawling early as always. The crowd then starts to thin. We get Kalani Jordan with a crossbody. She manages to avoid elimination, hanging onto the ropes and pulling herself back in. She gets pounced off the apron onto the announce desk, where she still is as they go to break, basically doing her Naomi Kofi impression here. And we get back to commercial. We see that Kalani Jordan has made it back to the ring safely. Ola Vice and Elektra Lopez eliminate the girl that was doing, I don't know what her name is. She was doing all like the exercises backstage. She was in a segment earlier in the show. Shows that there's no honor amongst thieves, as Lola then eliminates her pal. Tatum Paxley then eliminates Lola Vice, and she and Lopez explode into a brawl on the floor, thus breaking up that friendship. We get Blair Davenport getting into it with Karen Petrovic. Gigi Dolan hits Blair with an STO, puts her onto the apron, only to get low bridge into an elimination for her trouble. Carmen then takes out Davenport, but Blair pulls her to the floor under the bottom rope and blasts her with a knee strike before throwing her back into the ring. Lash Legend then swings Tatum Paxley around like a weapon, trying to powerbomb her out, but Tatum claps her ears. Lash then blasts her off the apron anyway. Ariana Grace trying for a cheap elimination. She finally picks up an unconscious Petrovic and dumps her to the floor. Thea Hale then attacks her from behind, eliminates Grace with ease, and they go to another commercial break. They come back, and Hale with back splashes, big DDT on Legend, somersault senton, and a springboard senton. Same routine as Roxanne Perez. Thea is fired up, another senton attempt, but Izzy Dame catches her and throws her to the floor. We get Fallon Henley almost eliminates Kiana James, and our final 6 are down and out. Izzy gets eliminated. Lash runs Perez and Henley over, clobbering them, putting Roxanne on the apron, dangling her off the ropes, but Lash gets eliminated by Ren Sinclair, who was the opponent of Cora Jade, actually, when she got hurt, thus taking her place in this Battle Royal. Then we get Sinclair up top. She gets dumped to the floor, and now we go to our final 4-way segment, which is down to Kalani Jordan, Kiana James, Fallon Henley, and Roxanne Perez. They're all down and out, slowly rising. Fallon with a hard headbutt on Kiana, and they both roll to the floor. Roxanne then dives on Henley. Kiana with a side moonsault on James. Jordan and Perez trading near fall, so close. Wheelbarrow facebuster from Roxanne. Henley breaks it up, kicks to the midsection, ducking and dodging. Springboard blockbuster on Kalani, but James breaks it up. Posting Henley in the corner, shoulder block for Kalani, one for Roxanne as well. Henley cuts James off, eats a spine buster that gets broken up by other women remaining. Pop Brock's blocked with a drop kick, front kick, overhead drive denied, throat thrust for a 1-no deal. Perez then draws James up and over. Pop Brock's countered in the corner. Kiana sets her up top. Perez slips under, powerbomb denied. Henley kicked off the apron. Roxanne blasts James with a boot. Avalanche Frankensteiner. Kalani off the top rope, flock splash, but Perez breaks it up. Running kick from Fallon. Roxanne sends her packing, drop kick from Jordan. Back up top, split-legged moonsault, but Izzy Dame pulls her gal out of the ring. We get Perez setting Kalani up, and then we get Roxanne Perez getting the victory by eliminating Kalani Jordan via pinfall with Pop Brock to become the #1 contender to the NXT Women's Championship. Post-match, we get Lara Valkyria comes to the ramp to face off with her new challenger. So I thought that was a fun battle royal. A lot of new girls in there, and I thought they did some really fun spots. I mean, the Karen Petrovic stuff was good. Ariana Grace. We get the two taller women with Lash Legend, Izzy Dame getting some spots. We get the underdog, Ren Sinclair in there. Kalani Jordan continues to impress. Going to the final 4, I didn't think Kalani was going to win. I didn't think Kiana was going to win for some reason. It was down to Roxanne and Fallon. I could see it going either way, but usually, with Roxanne starting to show kind of her kind of a darker side a little bit lately, I could definitely see where that goes into her victory. And like you said, Roxanne is getting close to, aging out, so to speak, of NXT. Like, what else is there really for her to do? Except maybe have another title run, who knows? Or have a heel run. That could be where they're going. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this battle royal and the unique way they decided on one contender?
Yeah, the battle royal was fine. I definitely think things heated up when it got to the fatal 4-way match. Kind of like you said, I didn't really think Kiana or Kalani were really threats to win this. I would have been surprised if Fallon had won either, just because she's a face and Lyra's a face, so I don't know that they'd particularly do that one. I mean, I guess Roxanne is a face as well, but like you said, she's kind of started to show more aggression. Maybe kind of started to show that she just kind of doesn't care about anybody but what she's going to accomplish going forward. So definitely showing some heel tendencies, and she can kind of play that role in the match. But yeah, I think this is kind of Roxanne kind of having one more shot before maybe she leaves us and goes to SmackDown or Raw to kind of show her self on the main roster.
All right. Moving on to the final show we're going to talk about on tonight's show from last week, from January 23rd. We get our opening contest, Axiom and Nathan Frazer versus the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic semifinals. We get Chaos Before the Bell, and Axiom and Frazer try to make an impact. Dives Big Man out onto the floor. Then we get Missile Dropkick, cover for 2 from Axiom on Corbin. Then we get Heels Turn the Tide. Then we get Breaker getting a near fall on Axiom. Another one tag from Frazer, springboard in, off the ropes, picking up speed. Bowling Braun over. Whip reverse, up and over. Roll through, leapfrog, Breaker hard into the post. Back elbow for Baron. Low bridge, Nathan sends him packing. Frazer with a plancha to take both of them out. Back inside, Axiom tags in, cross armbar on Breaker. Stereo submissions with Nathan taking Baron down. Braun pivots, post to his feet, and power bombs Axiom into Frazer. Brainbuster on Axiom, tossing him out into a power slam from Braun. Then we get Braun taking Nathan out on the apron. Axiom cuts him off with Enziguri, jockeying for position into turnbuckles. Avalanche Spanish Fly. Nathan legal, Phoenix Splash. Baron Corbin breaks it up, ends the days on Axiom. Braun charges in and hits the spear on Nathan Frazer, giving the Wolf Dogs a win via pinfall. I thought this was a fun match. I really enjoyed this. Speed versus power. It would have been fun to see Axiom and Frazer win, but obviously the Wolf Dogs were the team to beat in this match, and they move on to the finals of the Dusty Cup. What are your thoughts on this tag match?
Yeah, this was incredible. Like you said, an awesome matchup of speed and power. That definitely going in when you realize that Braun and Baron were going to be a team, they were definitely going to be one of the favorites going in. So them winning here is no surprise. Like you said, Axiom and Nathan are a really fun team. Maybe they could hang around and continue to be a team. Maybe have a tag title match at a PLE or something like that, maybe later on. But yeah, just a fun match. Definitely with that hot start to a episode that we're kind of used to. But yeah, just an awesome match to start things out.
I could see them being a London and Kendrick type team on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be really fun for them. Okay, so moving on to Josh Briggs and Dragunov having a confrontation backstage where Briggs accuses Dragunov of underhanded dealings to keep his title, making Trick pull double duty of vengeance and whatnot. Trick rolls up to talk some sense into him. Josh tells him everybody knows he's just going to slip back into Melo's pocket after Vengeance Day. They share some fighting words and Josh leaves. Josh showing a little bit of heel this year. Williams says you see Ilya at Vengeance Day, and Dragunov says he'll be there. I'm not sure Trick will be. We get Ren Sinclair, the new young girl coming up here, trying to give herself a pep talk. We get Fallon Henley rolling up, telling her to slow down, take a breath. It's always hard being a new girl. Back from commercial, we get Ava Raine leaving the Heartbreak Man Shawn Michaels' office, and lo and behold, who comes out right after her? William Regal, making his triumphant on-camera return to NXT. He congratulates her on being made general manager of NXT, and asks her to look after NXT for him. Talks about all the tough decisions if she ever needs anything. His phone is on. We move on to a Last Legend versus Ren Sinclair match. We got Sinclair with a sleeper hold, hanging on for dear life, but Lash slings her into the ropes, goes for mounted punches. We got back and forth. Ren blasts her into Jakara Jackson on the apron and nearly beats her. Then Lash picks her up and gets a slam dunk and wins via pinfall. So, Briggs is starting to come into his own, a little bit of character here. We get Ren Sinclair, I guess, a guy taking Cora's place in a roster spot. I think the girl, good look. She was not bad in the ring, right? In the Battle Royal. We're going to see a little bit more of her soon. And then we get, of course, I popped for seeing William Regal, his deal to get out of his AEW contract. That year is now up, where he's able to appear on screen. But then making Ava the general manager of NXT. So what does that make Sean now? Is Sean like just is he the hunter, the Triple H of NXT? Like he's just the COO of NXT? I don't get it. I mean, I think Ava's fine. Maybe, because her, The Rock is now a big on the board, right, of TKO. So of course his daughter may get a little extra preferential treatment. I don't know. I'm not going to say nepotism, but you can't spell nepotism without. Right. Wow. Well, it's hard to come up with that. Leave me alone, guys. It's late. All right. So yeah, but what do you think here of Briggs's kind of looking like his new self in here, and we got a Ren Sinclair introduction, and I bet you popped as much as I did when you saw William Regal and Ava becoming general manager.
Yeah, it was good to see Briggs kind of confront Dragunov. It shows that he's going to be a big deal going forward, and I appreciate that because I really like him, and I want him to get some opportunities like that. So good to kind of see him kind of putting himself kind of in that main event picture, kind of showing that he's going to go for the top dogs. He's not going to just wait his turn or anything like that. So. And yeah, seeing Regal was awesome. I did not see Ava becoming the general manager. Definitely didn't see that one coming. And yeah, I guess Sean is more of like the commissioner, kind of like how they did with the main roster a few years ago. Like Steph and Shane were the commissioners, but Daniel Bryan and Foley were like or Angle or whoever it was were the GMs, or whatever it was, something like that. And then Ren and Lash Legend, not a bad match, but obviously just to put Lash over and kind of show you what Ren can do in her first kind of one-on-one action. So never bad to have more depth to the women's division. So excited to have her around, but Lash finally getting kind of her due after being around for a while, and she's definitely been steadily improving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been a lot of improvements on the women's side, I gotta say. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you give these, they're doing something right down there at that performance center. Mm-hmm. So we get backstage, angry Elektra Lopez is knocking over tables looking for Lola Vice. We get Dijak making his entrance. Joe Gacy attacks him and they brawl around ringside. We get back and forth here. Dijak ends up chokeslaying him through the announce table. And we get Ariana Grace cutting a promo in the locker room about how her mother told her to have a vision. Elektra storms in, demands to know where Lola is, but Grace is full of herself, doesn't know where she is. Lexis King walks and talks backstage about how the main event is coming early, and he's the only man worthy of center stage. And then we go to break, come back. We get Von Wagner, Robert Stone, training in Wagner's college football stadium to work on his speed, stamina, and agility with the help of Stone's kids. Then we go to a match between Lexis King and Trey Bearhill. Bearhill in control early, but King turns it around and puts the boots to him. Trey then fired up, looking for a boss man slam. Lexis slips out, kicks to the leg, off the ropes. Northern Lariat rolling him over, pulling him in. And we get Lexis King with the win ball via the coronation. All right, so, we continue on to have Elektra, looking for Lola as that friendship has come to an end. We get Dijak and Gacy, their new feud starting to build up. And we get Lexis King, taking on Trey Bearhill, which is a feud I never thought we would see or have. right? Kind of weird to have that feud, but anyway, it happened. And we get a little more with Von Wagner, Robert Stone, who haven't been really doing much the last few weeks, but now it's they're kind of coming back into the fold, so to speak. So, what are your thoughts on this last part of the show?
Yeah, I mean that Bear Hill and Lexus King, definitely not a rivalry
Nope.
that I would see get multiple weeks worth of storyline. So definitely shocking. But yeah, the match was fine. Lexus went over, and that's not shocking because Trey's kind of a new guy. So well, Lexus was obviously going to get the win. He's the more kind of more established guy. Dijak and Gacy, like I said, the matches could be good, but not necessarily a rivalry that's kind of knocking my socks off. Just thinking about it. But the brawl was pretty good around the NXT arena, so definitely enjoyed that. And then Mr. Stone and Vaughn training with his twin sons is always entertaining because those are usually pretty good segments. They're usually good in those little comedy segments that they have, so not bad.
All right. So we move on to Noam Dar and Oral inside in the ring for Supernova sessions. We get Noam saying Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson off taking care of Ren Sinclair and Fallon Henley. And then they make fun of Von Wagner, saying he goes to the same school as Robert Stone's kids and there's no chance he'll ever win the Heritage Cup. Before introducing his guest for the night, Lola Vice. He puts her over, says the moment she and Elektra linked up, there was an expiration date on their friendship. Lopez is a leech. She says she got this contract all on her own. We got Elektra Lopez entering. She says she doesn't think Lola knows who she is, given how she pretends to be all sweet and innocent. She talks up her bona fides before accusing Lola of getting here by shaking her ass on Instagram. She calls her a wannabe MMA fighter, and Vice, his face screws up like she's hitting a nerve. The realest thing in her life, Elektra continues, is them one-on-one next week. Lola asks if she knows what she's getting herself into. And Lopez says she doesn't want to wait, and she wants to burn Vice to the ground right now. She spears Vice through the Supernova Sessions set. So I'm going to pause here for a minute. Because if we fast forward a few days, right, we get Elektra Lopez showing up on SmackDown, joining up with Legado del Fantasma again, obviously a heel, but here she's the face in this breakup with Lola Vice. So I'm a little confused here. I'm guessing what's going to happen next week, and we'll talk about it on our next episode, is she's putting over Lola, and that's it. Elektra is up. A lot of people, were upset that she didn't come up originally with Legado, but I think I didn't mind. I mean, now that, not to change our focus to SmackDown for a second, but although I believe on Raw tonight while we're recording, Andrade was on. He may be on Raw, but I would love to see what's her face? Oh, God, I'm blanking. Zelina and Andrade get back together because they were awesome together in NXT. They were one of those acts that Vince didn't get when they came out to the main roster kind of deals, but love to see back together. So I'm guessing, because Lola, there's another girl with a big upside. I think she's really great. I think she's come a long way in a short amount of time. She's still a ways away from being main roster ready, but she could be one of those that could come up earlier than most, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you think of this section here with I kind of was like starting to get into Elektra Lopez as a face and not being part of like a heel faction, but I guess that's not what we're going to get for now. But what do you think? You think that's the direction they're going to go in, that basically Lola's going to beat her next week, and then Elektra is no more NXT?
Yeah, I definitely could see that being the case, especially, like you said, with her debuting on SmackDown. Yeah, it seems like they're definitely not, Elektra's definitely not in the long-term plans of NXT. So, and she's with the group that she originally was with. Well, partially. She's with Santos. Santos has some different backup now, I guess I'll say. But yeah, obviously with her doing that, it seems like her days in NXT are numbered, which is kind of a surprise. She's never been somebody that has had a ton of in-ring time, so I don't know that she's had enough matches and like shown enough in the ring to like be a in-ring talent. But I mean, if they just see her more as a manager kind of character, she was really good at that with the original Legato. So could be interesting. But yeah, Lola seems to be like I said earlier, her and Kalani kind of seem to be the head of this newest class of new girls that seem to already kind of be getting pushes and obviously are doing really well in the ring as well. So Lola will get there. She's definitely a star of the future for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I believe earlier in the show, although I didn't, was basically OTM was attacking a restaurant here, and they took out a couple of guys, and Jada Parker takes out Adriana Rizzo in this video. And then Tony D'Angelo's cutting a Twitter promo on what a mistake OTM made by attacking the restaurant, and things are going to get real interesting for them. Also, last week, though, we had Jada and Adriana brawling with each other, after I think one eliminated the other in the Battle Royal. So that is continuing that feud in both sides, with both male and female.
Mm-hmm.
So we get back to commercial. Andre Chase is overseeing Chase use classroom goods getting repossessed. Duke Hudson tries to be the it's only stuff until they take his trophy. Then he loses it. Andre says he has nothing left, and they try to take his podium, and he loses it. Andre dismisses the class, sadly, and we're done here. Move on to a match here between Dragon Lee versus Scripps. Fast pace out of the gate. Scripps ducking and dodging. Lee blasts him with an enziguri that sends him to the floor. Tope Gon Hero. Back inside, shoulder block. Scripps blasts him to the floor, off the ropes. Tope into a somersault senton. Back inside, big cross body. We get a front kick into snap mare, drop kick to the back, cover for two. Disdainful slaps to Dragon's head. He powers up, blocks punches, throws his own back. Off the ropes, Legos and Enziguri jockeying for position, rising knee, running Spanish fly, and both men are down. The D'Angelo family run down and brawl with OTM. Adriana Rizzo dives on Jada Parker. Dragon Lee then takes the advantage, and he ends up winning with Operation Dragon by beating Scripps. We get a post-match here with Oba Femi appearing in the crowd, telling Dragon Lee he'll see him at Vengeance Day. So the OTM, family thing is continuing on. I like the depths that they're going here. We continue with I don't know what the end game is for this Chase U thing is, and then we get a decent little match here between Dragon Lee and Scripps, with Dragon Lee getting a victory leading into his rematch with Oba Femi. So what are your thoughts on what we just saw?
Yeah, I do like the idea of the OTM kind of going for D'Angelo and Stacks in their own territory in the restaurant, going for the restaurant, kind of attacking it and hurting some people around it. So I like that idea. Yeah, the repossession of all the objects in Chase U. Andre even says that like the next week that they'll say their goodbyes or something like that. So we'll see how that kind of goes. See if maybe JC's found a way to save them or not. But it definitely will be interesting to see what they kind of come up with on tomorrow night's episode as of the recording. And yeah, the Dragon Lee and Scripps match was a good match, good little back and forth. Obviously a win to kind of have Lee build some more momentum going into Vengeance Day in his match with Oba Femi. So definitely more entertaining of a match if you would get presented that to me on paper beforehand. So definitely fun.
Yeah. All right. So we get backstage, and Alpha and Blade destruct a loss from last week when I forgot her name, but the hyperactive girl who was backstage with
Brinley Reese is her name.
Brinley Reese, yeah, that's an NXT name for sure. Says tells him she lose the barrel because there's a lesson in defeat. She wrote in her wellness journal, reflected, worked out tons. Aegis is glad she's happy, but they can't catch a break, so they don't need journals or reflecting. She won't take no for an answer, gives them homework of writing 5 things they liked and 5 things they didn't like about their match. And they agree because they got nothing else to lose. So Lyra Valkyria is watching tape on tablet when Tatum Paxley rolls up, tells her tagging with her was the highlight of her entire career. Lyra tells her that she's really special, but last week was a one-time thing, and Tatum says she gets it. All of her attention is on Roxanne Perez. Valkyria says they're glad they're on the same page and leaves Paxley to be all dreamy about it. Then we go into a match between Blair Davenport and Carmen Petrovic. Davenport in control, wrenching her back in a rear chinlock. Petrovic fires up. Right hands aplenty, taking Blair off her feet, charging in, roundhouse kick in the corner, falling 540, roundhouse, nobody home. Scorpion kick, only 2. Blair reasserts herself. Blair Davenport wins by a pinfall with a knee strike. Then we go to another Ridge Holland interview backstage, talking about Gallus and the numbers game, blah, blah, blah. And then we get Dragunov makes his entrance to join the commentary team, and they go to break. So we get, this Lyra Tatum stuff moving forward. And then Blair versus Petrovic. The thing about Carmen that I like is you could definitely see she's legit in her martial arts background, because the way she hits her kicks, she just does little things as opposed to other people who just throw kicks up there. You could actually tell that she knows what she's doing when she uses her feet, which is really good, which is one of the things I think that's going to carry her. But, she's not going to beat Blair Davenport here. Blair's going to get her revenge from last week. Blair is probably one of your top 3 heels in the women's division right now. So I think that's kind of the right person. And, Ridge, whatever. I'm kind of like, fine, Ridge Holland, yay, whatever. So what are your thoughts on this part?
Yeah, and to go back to the Blade and a no-face stuff with Brinley, just the whole writing down the 5 things that they liked best and 5 things that they didn't like. I thought was a really funny little segment and way to go about that. More Lyra and Tatum stuff. Lyra trying to get her to understand that last week was a one-time thing of teaming with each other, and they're going to be single stars and kind of go their separate ways. And Tatum seems like she understands, but I don't really necessarily think they're on the same page per se. And yeah, like you said, Blair was always going to win. She needs to kind of reestablish herself after losing her title match. But yeah, Carmen, a lot of good kicks, a lot of good strikes in this one. So definitely can tell that she kind of knows what she's doing and really lays them in. And then Ridge, like you said, whatever. He's going to continue fighting Gallus, so we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it'll be equally as unimpressive as it was last time. So.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we move on to Josh Briggs versus Trick Williams. You get side headlock, shot off, scoop, and a slam from Briggs. Williams ends up on the floor at Elia's feet, and the champion urges him to rise as they go to break. Back from commercial, Briggs with a reverse chinlock. Trick fights out with elbows, but Briggs catches him with a side slam for 2. Trick running hot, kicks in combination, flapjack. Briggs cuts him off with a slam and an elbow drop for 2. On the floor, Briggs nails Ilya. Carmelo Hayes keeps Dragunov from running in after Briggs, and Williams catches Josh with a victory roll, and it's over with Trick Williams scoring the victory. Briggs then keeps fighting for a beat before realizing he's lost and waving the match off and leaving. Ilya Dragunov is fighting mad and helped to his feet. Carmelo gets into the ring and Trick shoves him away. So backstage, we get Thea Hale's bummed about the end of Chase U, but JC Jane reassures her she's still working on it. Lexis King rolls up and hits on Thea, and Riley Osborne appears to back him off. Osborne wants to chat with Hale alone later. Of course, she agrees and then flips out as soon as he leaves. JC tells her she has to play it cool and remember that she's a grown woman. And we get a no quarter catch crew vignette. We got Carmelo and Trick continuing to argue backstage with Hayes not trusting Ilya and Trick wanting to give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, so we get the not more of a storyline progression match here with Josh Briggs and Trick Williams, and then we continue on with the Thea Hale, Lexis King, Riley Osborne stuff, and a little more arguing from Mello and Trick. So, and also just a little, I know we went into SmackDown a little bit also, but following on SmackDown a few days later, we have Mello in a match, right, against, he was facing Grayson Waller, right?
Either Waller or Theory. I can't remember.
Ends up, getting beat down by the other two. And surprisingly, I wasn't expecting a Trick coming out, making the in place. And I got to tell you, he got a much bigger pop than Mello did when he came out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're getting a lot of whoop that tricks going through that SmackDown show. I love, loving that stuff, and basically saying he did it just to, save him for the tag match. So I like how they're kind of progressing here. Because Mello, we'll talk about it in a minute. I don't know where Mello is right now. Whether he's NXT, SmackDown. I think is there a need for him to be on both brands right now? I don't know, but he's doing well on SmackDown. But get back to what we're here to talk about. What are your thoughts on the Briggs trick match and the Chase U stuff?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of these guys that are kind of continuing to float back and forth. Like they either need to be on one or be on the other. Obviously, you go ahead.
I know it's confusing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Mello has unfinished business. I think we'll see him kind of play out over the next couple of months. But he definitely, I think he should be more focused on being in NXT if he's still gonna finish that whatever business that is. But the match between Trick and Josh was, I thought it was really good. Another really standout performance by both guys. I think both guys have a really big future on the brand as a whole. So, and I think they continue to show that they're going to be a big pieces of NXT going forward. And obviously Trick gets to win ahead of his big title match coming up at Vengeance Day. Maybe kind of leaning towards a Briggs going heel because he kind of clotheslines Trick after the match. So we'll see where that character kind of goes going forward. And then, the Chase U stuff. Again, interesting to see what next week kind of brings and what happens with all that to see if JC can maybe save it or not.
All right. And we close our show with a contract signing here between Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria, presided over by Ava Raine. A lot of back and forth, a lot of respect stuff. Kind of Roxanne saying, Lyra's where she was and she never lost her title, and she's going to take it from her, and Lyra comes back with saying she had a great run, but now Lyra's replaced her, and she wants to bring this new edgy Roxanne who's walked through glass to Vengeance Day. Because Roxanne is the last person she has to prove herself to, and we end up getting the contract signing, and Lyra ends up leaving the ring, stares down Roxanne, and then Tam Paxley comes out from underneath the table to slam Roxanne through the table. Lyra returns to the ring. Tatum rushes over and hugs her, but Valkyria shoves her away and asks what's wrong with her, leaving Tatum crying in the ring. So that closes our show. I thought it was, a nice build up here. Continues on to maybe put a little more fire into Roxanne and Tatum, with the misguided, affection here, thinking that she's helping Lyra when Lyra doesn't need her help. I kind of dug the end of the show. I mean, they have to put a little something in there because, we got technically two faces still right now, so there needs being a little more heat, I guess, into this into the title match, right? If you know what I mean. Yep. What did you think of this contract signing?
Yeah, it definitely added some more heat. These two aren't necessarily the strongest talkers, but I think they definitely delivered the lines that they needed to deliver well to put over the kind of a, not hatred, but kind of aggression towards each other, and like being jealous of maybe that, Roxanne never lost the title, and she's kind of jealous of the fact that, she never really got her one-on-one opportunity, and this is finally her chance to kind of get the title back. So definitely interesting, or definitely made the hype for this match a little bit more interesting and got you a little bit more excited for the match when it happens. So, but yeah, Tatum coming in and making her presence felt was exciting as well. And that slam through the table was pretty brutal. So good little spot. But yeah, definitely excited for that one at Vengeance Day.
Sorry, I apologize for my voice.
No, you're good.
Voice going a little bit towards the end here. So this past weekend was the Royal Rumble event, and we originally had planned to to record before the Rumble because we wanted to really kind of talk about the Rumble a little bit from the NXT perspective. Unfortunately, stuff happens. We didn't get a chance to. So we're going to kind of look at a little hindsight a little bit, just talk about NXT appearances in the Rumbles. From the men's side, it was great to see Braun Breaker in there. Some people are saying that he is officially up, but, I think time will tell if that is really truly the case. We're not going to dive into the whole Vince McMahon stuff, but there's, chatter online that, Brock Lesnar was also named, or either he was named or implicated in this whole deal. If you want to know what we're talking about, go online. It's everywhere. You'll find it. We're not going into it here. But apparently Brock was supposed to be part of the Rumble, and Braun took his spot and did the spots and everything like that. Braun looked like $1 million, man. He looked like a star. He came out. He kicked ass. Had some good eliminations. Were you surprised to see Braun in the Rumble, or we both had hoped that he was going to be in there?
No, I mean, and Melo was in it as well.
Yeah.
I think those were the two that were, I won't say layups, but they were definitely the two that I definitely saw coming ahead of time. Obviously, I think Braun deserved to be in it, despite the fact that it seemingly he took a place of somebody that could not be in it due to legal situations and stuff like that. But yeah, he definitely took full opportunity of the opportunity. He definitely showed out. I think a lot of crap was talked about the crowd at the Rumble the other night. They weren't exactly the most excitable crowd, and I think for the men's Rumble wasn't the best ever. That's definitely not even close, probably. But I think he was one of the bright spots for sure, because he came out and just absolutely wrecked shop from the beginning to the time when he was finally eliminated. So definitely took advantage of the opportunity. And Melo was in there for a good little bit. He got elimination or two, I think. But he wasn't a major factor in the match at all. But when Braun got in there, it was you could definitely tell a switch kind of flipped.
Yeah. I'm and I said this one night, with Chad on the North and the NoSo YouTube, talking about Rumble performers countdown. He and I covered Brock actually, but I think they should expand the men to 40. Just because I hate seeing wasted spots. I thought there was a lack of surprises this year. I don't mind celebrities. The Pat McAfee spot, I thought that was such a waste of a spot. It wasn't even that good of a comedy spot, because that's really kind of what it is at the end of the day. As for NXT in there, I mean, there were a lot of people that weren't in this Rumble. That's another reason why I'm a proponent of 40. I like to see a lot of guys get in there. But I think maybe 3 or 4 others from NXT, because Baron Corbin, is he considered NXT? Right now he is. The only other 3 that could have been possibilities, I mean, Dragunov being the NXT champion, of course. I think the place would have gone he would have gotten a nice pop. Trick, maybe, would have been good, and maybe having, him or Melo eliminate the other could have been a spot.
Yeah.
And then the only other point, long shot dark horse, Oba Femi, for being the NXT North American Champion. He was probably maybe like way down the list of like who we could put in this thing, because you can't. I mean, you had Omos in there, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and this guy runs circles around Omos already. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's it on terms of the men's side. Women's side, there could have been more, right? Of course, eagle-eyed, if you really have to be eagle-eyed, you just have to be freaking watching, was that they spoiled Roxanne Perez being in the Rumble. Because Randy Orton was in, they showed a video of Randy Orton being in Tropicana Field, and they were testing out, I guess, the Tron or the whatever behind him, and Roxanne's name was on it. So kind of unfortunate timing, kind of a fuck up basically in production there, because that's not something that should have happened.
Yeah.
But I thought Roxanne was fine. I mean, she's close to graduating, I guess, from NXT. Tiffany Stratton Really glad to see her. She did great too, by the way. What are your thoughts on those two in the Rumble?
Yeah, I thought it was a really dumb production,
Gaff.
Yeah, gaff. Yeah, but I wasn't ever going to be surprised that she was going to be one of the girls that showed up from NXT in there, because she was in it last year, so I mean it only made sense to kind of do it again. But yeah, that was definitely a production gaffe for sure. And I thought Tiffany definitely deserved to be in there, and she like with Braun earlier that we were talking about, she definitely took full advantage of the opportunity and showed out and showed that she's going to be a force to be reckoned with very soon on the main roster, because I think she's primed and ready, and I think she could even give it a big spot going into Mania season and really perform to a high level.
Yeah. I mean, outside of those two, Lyra.
Yeah, Lyra would be the only other one.
Yeah,
I mean, because she's a champion.
Yeah, because she's a champion. I really can't see anybody else really ready to debut in the Rumble, right? Or make an appearance in the Rumble, because there's been plenty of NXT people in the past that have come out. Rusev did it, Bo Dallas. They've come up, in Roxanne last year. They've come into the Rumble, and that was a one-off, right? I mean, Fallon, no, I don't think so. Gigi, JC, people were hoping Mandy Rose was going to make an appearance. I didn't. I was not one of them. Not that I wouldn't want to see Mandy. I just didn't think it was going to happen.
No, yeah, definitely not.
All right, yeah. So yeah, it was a good time at the Rumble. I thought the women's match was better than the men's match.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens a year from now, right, at that event. So, so for our last thing we're going to talk about, so Vengeance Day is about a week and a half away from recording. The Go Home NXT show is tomorrow night, the night after we record here, or a couple of nights before you listen to this. So we're going to do our Vengeance Day kind of preview. All right, first up, we got the finals of the Dusty Cup. We got Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin facing the winner of the LWO or Trick Mello match. I mean, there's no way it can't be Trick Mello, right? The LWO has really performed great, but I think Trick Mello is going to win that match, but they're going to lose to Braun and Baron Baron are going to take the Dusty Cup finals. And that could be it for Braun. And then Trick Mello, this is just going to continue to lead to the implosion of their friendship. So what are your thoughts and picks for this match?
Yeah, I think it's just going to continue the miscommunication and kind of deterioration of the friendship between Trick and Mello. Yeah, and I think Baron and Braun will end up winning this one, and obviously I think Trick and Mello will be the finalists as well, because they've been teasing the 2-match thing for Trick this whole time, so they're not going to tease that for weeks and weeks and not pull through on it. So, but yeah, I definitely think Braun and Baron take this one, and I think they get a title shot if they win this. So. Maybe they get into that title match and Baron decides that he wants to be a dick and actually not be tag champions with Braun. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, yeah, that's true. All right, so we get the women's title match: Lyra Valkyria defending against Roxanne Perez. All right, you go first. What are your thoughts?
I definitely think Lyra retains here. I think she's more of maybe if she loses it, she's probably more likely to lose it at a stand and deliver type show. I think this is kind of like a graduation match for Roxanne as well. I think she might go up to the main roster if she loses this one. So, but yeah, I definitely see Lyra retaining.
Same thing here. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is maybe they give Roxanne a heel run for a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of have her snap after losing. And, who knows where Tatum Paxley's going to figure into this whole thing too, still, if they're leading to Tatum getting a title shot at some point. Which is
I really don't know where they go at stand and deliver now. It seemed so obvious that it was going to Cora. So with her out, it definitely shook it up a little bit.
All right, so we got Oba Femi defending against Dragon Lee for the North American title. Oba's going to win this. I think Dragon Lee will have a nice showing, but ultimately, Oba's going to just go over and go over big time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this will be a little bit more of a competitive match for Oba. He hadn't had too many of those so far, so definitely look for this one to be a little longer for him. See if he can kind of hold up. I think he'll kind of pull through, and he'll definitely win. But I think he'll have a good performance as well, because I think Dragon Lee can have can carry him to a good spot at that in that situation. So I think it'll be a solid match.
All right. We got a mixed 6-person tag. We got the family, Tony D. Stacks and Adriana versus OTM. What are your thoughts on this one?
It's non-title, so I think OTM probably gets a big win here, and kind of establishes themselves and gets another title match out of this. I think if somehow the titles were on the line, maybe the D'Angelo family retains, but obviously wins and retains. But with it being non-title, I think OTM kind of gets a big win on a big stage here.
All right, and then our final match that's been announced. I mean, I think 5 matches have been announced, so I don't know, maybe one more at the most we would get here. Yeah. We get Trick Williams challenging Ilya Dragunov for the NXT title. This is a tough one because Dragunov's ready for the main roster.
Yeah,
is this where they want Trick's big victory to be a Vengeance Day and not at at Stand and Deliver? I mean, you gotta. I guess Trick's got to win here, right? Because you got to lead it to Trick Mello at Stand and Deliver, and Trick retains, and Mello, sayonara, you're SmackDown exclusive now. That's what I think. I think Dragunov comes up. I think he ends up on Raw, maybe gets involved in something, down the line with Gunther. Who knows? But definitely, I think we're going to see a new champion here tonight. I think the only title change we're going to get here.
Yeah, it obviously seems to be headed towards Trick and Mello at Stand and Deliver. But the only reason I think I would definitely say Trick wins here is I don't really know who else faces Ilya. If he retains the title, I don't know who the other person is that's going to go for him. So yeah, I guess Trick needs to win here, and then obviously defends the title against Trick or against Mello at Stand and Deliver, and gets the big win over his old boss. So I'll go Trick as well, even though I kind of don't know that they'll pull the trigger on a show so close to the main, the Mania NXT PLE. So, but we'll see. I definitely interested and definitely excited to see this match, because they fought each other on TV like 2 or 3 months ago, and I remember really, really liking it, despite the fact that Trick hadn't really established himself yet.
Yeah. No, it should be a fun show. I'm looking forward to this card, and we'll be breaking it down probably a few weeks after. So a little hindsight glasses on when we do that, but will definitely be fun. So stay tuned for more of that. You may see our friends on the North South Connection do maybe they may do one of their viewers choice shows. So if you want more immediate reaction, I would suggest you go check over there on Sunday night or Monday morning. So with that, it's going to wrap up this episode of Who's Next here on the PlayStation Wrestling Network. Before we go, Logan, you have anything else you'd like to direct people to besides this show, and any social medias to be followed on?
You can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Highway PTBN. I obviously Highway to the Impact Zone is the reason that's my Twitter handle. We go through TNA. We just covered Bound for Glory 2006, which is a real kind of touchstone, big pay-per-view for them. We live watched that, so definitely check that out. Linking Up Luchas is a Lucha Underground pod I do on the North-South Connection. We just did an episode of that. We're kind of getting towards the end of the first season of that, kind of building towards the Ultima Lucha that ends the season. So definitely looking forward to talking and getting more towards that. And then Talking Docs, we just finished our second season covering animal and nature documentaries, and we're going to be headed into a new season here pretty soon. So check all those out.
All right, very cool. As for me, check me out on the PlayStation Pop Experience, Video Jukebox Song of the Day. Usually drop a part of that twice a week. That's every weekday at 8 a.m. Trying to get back into the swing of things with my regular pods with Cartoons of Our Youth, Laugh in Theater, The Muppet Pod, and Pop Goes the Classics. Just, life's getting in the way lately of recording, but, and the live watch pods as well. Those will hopefully all be coming back at some kind of decent cadence. But check out, although we have other great shows on that feed, so continue to check that out. Okay, so for Logan Crosland, I am Andy Atherton. We want to thank you all for listening to this episode of Who's Next, and we will see you on our next episode. Take care.